Welcome to Nature Check's Arda Campaign, the show where you come for the game and stay for the science. Hello, my name is Sheryl, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Dungeon Master for the Arda Campaign. I'm also a PhD student studying ecology at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and when I'm not doing research, I'm a science communicator and the host of the Roving Naturalist on YouTube, and here a lot. Next, we've got Ryan.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Gott. I'm an entomologist. I do all kinds of different things in the plant healthcare world. Up until the start of this year, as if you're a listener, you knew I was at a nonprofit public garden. But now I have moved and I do integrated pest management and quality control for a medical marijuana grower. So getting to apply all these kinds of things in a really cool, new, fast-growing industry. And on our game, I play Fletcher, the human wizard, and both of our pronouns are he, him, his.
Sweet. Next, we've got Cindy.
Hey, I'm Cindy, she, her. Excuse me. I'm a science enthusiast and play an Andorian engineer over on Heroes of Awesome Constellation on the Weirdling Switch and YouTube channels. Here, I am playing Nautia, the water method druid.
Then there's Peter.
I am Peter. I use he pronouns, and I play Cedric, the dwarven cleric, the charismatic and dashing young dwarven cleric. And like Ryan, I have also recently switched jobs. So those of you who follow know that I have been teaching agriculture with the University of Maryland for a while. I just started a job with North Carolina A&T University doing horticultural research, so looking at how different ways of growing crops to improve yield.
Neat. And then there's Nancy.
Hello. The best thing about going after Peter is that my intro can't be any worse, right? Hi, everybody. My name is Nancy. I'm an entomologist, which means that I study bugs, and I live in Ecuador, where normally, before all the 2020, I was doing ecotourism focused on insects. However, obviously that isn't happening, so I do a bunch of whatever I can possibly do, including teaching online entomology courses, and I get to teach a workshop in the Amazon for 5 days, so I'm super stoked about that. I play a human-ish woman rogue named Kay, and our pronouns are she, her.
Awesome. And you have probably already noticed, but we have an amazing special guest with us tonight. That's Angelo.
Hi, I'm Angelo. I'm an undergraduate anthropology student at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, but I'm focusing on not just science communication and public outreach, but experimental archaeology, which is tool and weapon recreation and experimentation. And within that, I hyper-focus on this specific spear-throwing weapon called the Atlatl, which you'll learn more about probably throughout the game today and next time I'm on. So really excited to be here. This is my first time playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm excited to play with this group.
Aw, yay, and we're so excited to have you. Yes, you will learn so much about ancient weapons soon. But first we have to get through the rest of the announcements. So if you're watching us live right now, I see all of our friends in the chat. Hello! Thank you so much for being here. As always, if you have questions for the cast, put them in the chat so that they can answer them, or I can bring them up and we can talk about them audioly? Whatever. Of course.
It's definitely not that.
Be sure to check out the reference section down below for the social media handles for the entire Nature Check cast. Oh boy. And you can come hang out with us on Discord. There's also a link to that down in the reference section. As you might expect so far on the Discord, there's been a lot of talk about food and also some science and D&D memes, so it's a good time. Don't forget, if you are not able to watch us live or you want to share us with your friends and family and your enemies and whoever else, you can, as always, find the sessions for our TTRPG games in video form on our YouTube channel and in podcast form. I think I've got everywhere now. We'll see. Maybe I missed someplace, but they should be everywhere. Follows, subscriptions, comments, shares, reviews, smashing the like button, whatever, really help us out on all of our platforms, so thank you for doing those things as well. All right, let's remember where you were last time. So, You four were rudely awoken in your desert campsite by a group of 2-foot-long scorpions, which was just a great start to your morning. You began traveling through the desert, a landscape entirely unfamiliar to all of you. So you spent some time examining the local plants and animals. You watched a pair of golden eagles engage in some sort of territorial dispute, with Nautia healing the loser of the fight. That eagle has now been shyly accompanying your party deeper into the desert. As you neared the spot Nautia had identified the night before as being of interest, you encountered a large rocky canyon blocking your path. After some rope work, some tumbles, and a lot of stress, most of you have made it successfully to the other side of the canyon. However, it is almost midday on Telosum, the 4th day of Brightrun, and Kay is still at the bottom of the canyon. Also, I wanted to let everybody know that I reread the rules on being out in the heat, since we had a conversation about this last time. The heat rules do actually include a penalty for someone like Cedric who's wearing heavier armor. So you get a -4 penalty to that save. And you didn't get the temple bonus either, so it's just a -4 on that fortitude save. And we also talked about this. If you fall unconscious after taking too much non-lethal damage from the heat, you do start taking lethal damage and dying. So those rules are a lot more realistic than we thought they were. Anyway, how are you getting Kay out of the canyon?
That's a good question.
What we've been doing isn't working.
So currently we have Cedric and Fletcher at the top of the canyon holding the end of a rope, pulling Kay, trying to pull Kay up, while Kay is trying to climb up the rope and the cliff while Nautia is pushing her butt up. Is that what's going on?
Falling? Just, yeah.
Yeah, you were
kind of just, yeah.
You were alternately trying to lift and pushing her against the wall to keep her from falling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boosting her.
Boosting.
Assisting.
How big is your new giant eagle friend?
Not big enough. The same size as me, which is not big enough. I checked.
3-foot bird. So it's about the same size as Nautia. They're both
literally we're the same size class. That's part of why I picked it.
Yeah.
So Cindy did remember that Nautia does in fact have a fishing net that she keeps with her that she uses as a cloak/hammock when she's in the jungle. So we do have a better way of attaching Kay to the rope. If we want to try something different.
Kay, how you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds better than literally, being smushed against a rock wall and almost dying.
Then 3 of us can pull from the top and just have to not all 3 fail.
This been working really well for us.
You're halfway up the cliff now? Is that where you currently are?
No, she's at the bottom.
Oh, you're at the bottom.
She fell again. The problem is, it doesn't matter if you make it 2 up. Once you fall, you're back at the bottom. There's no falling just 1 level.
So when she fell and the Safe Wing emblem saved her, she fell 2/3 of that 100-foot drop. So
yeah,
she was
and
at
almost died.
Yeah, you were at -8 or something. So she almost died. Yeah. But then we retconned it because the Safe Wing emblem would have saved her from all that fall damage. So she's not very hurt, but she is very frustrated.
And quite terrified. Can we add terrified to the list of adjectives?
Yeah, that too.
And can now get very hurt.
Right.
And can now get very hurt.
Because the magic item is
like
gone.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah!
So as Fletcher and Cedric kind of lean over the top of the canyon, Cedric is going to call out, like, so that didn't seem like it worked. Do you have any other ideas?
I was peering over a cliff edge.
Oh. I was like, what are you showing us?
You're like, my strength is
Method acting.
0. I have a 0 modifier.
Hey guys, help!
Hey, if I could just wrap you up really well and went up and pulled, would you be okay trying that?
Yeah, I'd be okay trying that.
Okay. I might maybe, and I pull out the net and try to make it like a sling situation happen.
Okay. First question.
Can I try and assist on that?
Yes, my first question
Absolutely.
though is, Nautia, your net thing had been kind of like a makeshift ghillie suit. Are you taking all of the crap out of it and just using the net, or are you leaving all the crap in it?
No, because I've been using it as a hammock too. Like, it's still got all the leaves and crap in it. I mean, a bunch of it's probably sort of dried up and fallen out since we've left the jungle, I would think. Yeah, no, it looks a hot mess.
Okay. Yeah, so if Kay is going to assist you, Nautia, then you can... Oh, boy.
Which skill is that?
Make an argument for something for me, because I don't really know.
Use rope.
Use rope.
It's rope, and we're attaching it to rope.
Sure, yeah. Okay, Nautia, so you can have a +2 because Kay is helping you, and use rope to see how well you bundle her up in it.
Would you say that this is involving bindings, or is it just using rope?
Is your
Kinky.
That was my thought too.
It makes a difference.
We've been over this. Is it? I thought you just had a bonus to escaping bindings. Do you also have it for creating bindings?
I think that's what the intent is, but it just says with bindings.
I feel like that's more like if you were trying to like tie up a prisoner.
I feel like we had exactly this conversation last time.
I don't think this is a binding moment. Unless you wanted to like hog tie
I'm pretty sure
Kay,
it's getting out of bindings.
which seems extraneous. You know.
Or unhog tie K, I think was
yes.
the intent, because rabbits are supposed to be good at getting out of things. Okay. All right, first roll of the day. And you said I've got +2 with K? Yeah?
Yes.
Mm.
The curse remains.
I should have just tied it.
Oh,
I'm just taking your time.
5. Cool.
5.
Awesome. Okay.
Can I check it?
You helped her do it, which means you can't check it.
Cedric's like, what are they doing down there?
It is so bad that Cedric can tell from up top. Because it's just like she's basically I've just tangled Kay in the net.
Is Nautia trying to tie up Kay?
She's hanging out.
Like her
everywhere.
arms and legs are all sticking out of holes in this net.
It's like a dead body rolled up in a rug.
Yeah.
Just like...
Oh, are we just gonna leave her here for dead? Is that what we're doing?
Ooh.
I've sort of tied it up and tried to put her in it like it's a hammock, but because it's all in one, it's just it's uncomfortable, and she's just kind of.
And I'm also bigger than you by a lot.
I'm picturing Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, where they're all in that big net and they're just dangling.
Yep.
Ryan
Boy,
gets
that's
it.
a pull.
Sure.
I love that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it's such a good
That's
movie.
a deep pull.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
Peter and I spent way too much time together in grad school. That's why we always think the same things and know what we're talking about. And
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh my god. Okay, Sarah, do you want them to use that now? Is that what you're telling me?
except for that.
Sarah just
did Sarah
redeemed
give us-
a second.
Otherwise, I have a weird
Yes,
question about my
please.
tangle patch, and if that can tangle all the things together to haul her up.
That is an interesting idea. I don't hate it. So yeah, Sarah says you can use the second chance right now if you want to retie, or we can let Fletcher goo you up, I guess. I don't know.
It goes away. It's an effect, so
It
you're not
does.
going to stay like...
Do I have like a residual sticky ooze afterwards?
No.
The opposite of
It'll
grease.
magically
It
vanish.
is the opposite of grease. Yeah, do you wanna use that second chance to try your use rope check again?
I would love to.
Okay,
try
do that.
again.
Do that, and I will mark it as redeemed.
I'm gonna close the window because I forget that Kito is loud. Hold on.
Bye.
Doop, boop, ba-doop, doop.
Cindy, try rolling better.
I rolled a 6 this time.
Hey, an improvement. 6 is better than 5.
We're a math podcast now.
Yeah.
6 is bigger than 5.
You feel... Hey, there's a
What
lot
the
of
heck
math.
come after 6?
Guys,
You feel even more sure about this knot than you did half a second ago. Yep, so confident.
Looks like she just untied her and then retied her in the exact same way, but I can't really see from up here.
Roll a perception check, Cedric.
Oh, I'm good at
So
that.
very high.
I picture him just like on his stomach with his like hands in his face over the edge.
Only a 13.
Only a 13. I mean, yeah, it looks like they've tangled Kay up in the net, but it's 100 feet away, so it's a little hard for you to tell. Yeah.
All
hate
tangled
us
up in the
so
net,
much.
just like Sandra
I
Bullock was
hate
in the
us.
net.
Oh wow.
I keep rolling the number will get higher. That's just math. Thank you, Eric.
I'm also glad you learned something already tonight, Warioshi.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have, good lord, you've tangled Kay up in this net. Are you going to go up to the top, Nautia, and help pull?
Sure.
Okay, it's just lying there as you fly away. Like, I hope no large animal comes to chews on me while they're all gone.
Like a giant like stampede or like some like water rushes by, just dead.
Oh god, so this is the Lion King now? And you're gonna be trampled like
Wasn't there
Mufasa?
weird
Yeah,
noise
where all
from
of
the
these
ground,
jokes
too?
happened last time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
That's which is what I'm assuming that is our collective childhood trauma is watching Mufasa die in that
Yes.
movie, correct? Okay.
I still cry.
Yeah.
I still cry.
Yeah. That plus Artax.
Artax.
Plus the Land Before Time when his
Oh.
mom dies
Oh,
at the
yeah.
beginning.
Okay.
I always fast forwarded that movie.
Sorry, apparently we're gonna have to add a trigger warning to Nature Check for childhood dramas.
Sarah says stop giving the DM ideas. Okay, so all right, so we've got Fletcher with a 10 strength, and then Cedric and Nautia, you have what strengths?
I have 14, so I got +2.
Okay.
13.
My-
so only
my
plus
my
one.
strength
Okay.
my base strength is 11.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was a 10. I'm so
It's
sorry.
11, not 10.
I'm so sorry.
11 is bigger than 10.
He's been working out.
It's been working out. Okay, so Cedric, yeah, so you will give a bonus to Nautia. So Nautia, you can.
Whoa, whoa! We're letting Sydney roll again?
She has the highest strength modifier.
She's the strongest one.
Do you want to do it instead?
No.
No, yeah, okay, fine. Let's let Cedric roll something. Cedric, you get a.
I don't want to be responsible for killing.
I would rather trust Nautia to do this and would love to see Cedric be just like emasculated.
You're making some bold assumptions about my dice luck right
I
now.
just don't want to die. I don't care who does it. I just don't want to die.
Boulder Parchment Shears. Go for it. You too.
It's gonna be so hard to do online.
Oh,
Have you been watching Critical Role? Come on.
They're all in the same room. They don't have lag issues. All right. Wait.
All right.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Yep. Christ. All right.
Why is this so hard?
2. Wait. Should we just roll for it? Is that easier?
Just. Yeah, let's
Kate just
roll
like
for it.
wiggles her
Let's roll
legs,
for
like
it.
waiting for
All right.
something to happen.
My
Straight
God.
D20.
Yep.
I got a 10.
Alright. Cedric, you can roll a strength check to pull Kay in
Try
her net
Anthony one.
up the side of the canyon. You get a +4 from Nadia's strength.
16.
Okay, yeah, so you... So you are able to you do it very slowly, and very carefully, but you are able to pull, and Kay, you're just inside this tangled, like, it's kind of claustrophobic, this net rope thing, like a cocoon. And they sort of pull you up the side of the cliff slowly and kind of jerkily, and you bang into the wall a few times, not enough to take any hit point damage, but just, like, to be really annoyed.
Because Kay isn't already living in a state of perpetual annoyance.
I mean, yeah. So you get the cocoon.
I hate all of you.
So I have to remind you that a canyon wall does involve a lip at the edge. So you get the cocoon up just to like the point of the lip, and how are you just gonna drag her over it, or like how are you accomplishing the end of that?
Remember when I said I hated the rainforest? I changed my mind.
Every new biome is worse. Wait
I'm
until you
gonna
get
keep-
to the tundra.
I'm gonna keep dragging unless
Yeah.
Nautia and Fletcher want to
Nope.
like try and help her over the lip.
I can
I'm
kind
pulling
of.
as hard as I can.
Yeah, if you two
Okay.
keep pulling, I'll kind of help get her up and over.
Okay, all right, yeah. So you managed to... Kay, I imagine you just sort of, like, roll out of the net and starfish on the ground in the sand. Like... Yeah.
I'm like so tangled in that thing. I have someone has to get me out of it.
Yeah, Nautia kind of gets you out, and then once you're clear, just gives you a really big hug.
Kayla like burst into tears.
Oh.
I almost died. Why did I leave home?
Yeah,
I
think that was
thought,
the
Cedric,
hardest
I
thing.
thought you were strong.
I pulled you up, didn't I?
He did.
Barely.
Oh, thanks
know-
for not letting me die, I think.
Sure. That would have been a lot easier if we had built some kind of pulley or something like that.
You said, Cedric, do you know how to do that?
I mean, I feel like we could have figured it out.
Okay, we're just gonna unwrap Kay and keep moving because otherwise I could see a dwarf falling to the bottom of this canyon in the future. So let's just go.
The dwarf may or may not be helped in his speedy descent.
Guys, I would fall real hard.
Real hard.
I weigh a lot.
All that hard.
Oh boy. I lost the page for this.
What time of day is it?
So it's about midday at this point, so I'm actually going to have you guys roll another fortitude save to see how you're doing against the heat, because you just
That makes sense.
You did a lot
Lots
of effortful things,
And we just came up from the bottom of a canyon, which would probably have been a lot cooler down there than up here in the sun.
Yep.
So,
so you are making so you've made 2 of these fortitude saves already, so this will be the third one. So the fortitude DC is 18. Cedric, you get a -4 for wearing your armor. Those of you who have the temple bonus get your temple bonus.
What do you mean by like 18?
18 or higher to pass it.
Oh,
Correct.
18 or higher.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you roll
shit.
below an 18, you're going to take the heat damage.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, we're gonna die. Yep. I got
You got a what?
14.
A 14.
My total bonus is 10. 16.
Okay, so you also fail.
10.
It's very hot.
Cedric. Did you say something?
I'm muted and I got a 1.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Wait, like total because of all your subtraction?
Nope.
or
I
you
rolled
one?
I rolled a natural 1, so I got a -3.
Wait, you don't have anything to your fortitude? You're a cleric.
Oh,
You still add your fortitude bonus.
okay, yeah. So my
Wow,
base
I'm
save
sure
is
that's gonna get
okay.
him up to an 18.
Math.
Yeah, so I got a 0. Yeah.
Wow, guys. We are so good at this game. So the D4 says that you each take 3 points of non-lethal heat damage. Remember to track your non-lethal separate from your lethal. So the fall damage would have been lethal damage. Heat is non.
It's delayed lethal. Let's
Sorry,
be
how
honest.
many
You
points
pass
of
out,
non-lethal
you
did
can
you say?
still die.
Correct.
How many did you say?
3.
Okay.
3.
There's
Wait.
a reason why when we teach people about pesticide application, we do so much education about heat exhaustion
Mhm.
and the other things that can go wrong because you're protecting yourself from pesticides, and then you pass out and die from heat stroke. So
Yep. I had to wear a hard hat for my field work because of where I'm working, and that holds in so much heat that I did not think about ahead of time. Boy, that was awful. Natsuno Yoru, we are playing D&D 3.5 because I'm old-fashioned and a weirdo. But it works the same. It's still D&D.
What, you mean zeros are the best score you can possibly get? 0,
It's backwards. Yeah. Well, isn't that how the Star Trek game works, Cindy? That 1s are good and 20s are bad.
Yes, yes.
That
it is
confused me so
reversed.
much at first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why you'll frequently hear us saying, like, man, these rolls would be great for D&D.
Right, yeah.
Because there's a couple of us that roll 20s real often.
Yeah. All right. So, a little beat up and a little more tired than you were before. You all are now safely on the other side of this canyon from where you started this morning, which means you are closer to the area that Nautia had noticed the night before, where there seem to be campfires or some sort of small dots of light on the landscape. So I'm assuming you're untying your rope from the shiny tree and continuing on?
Yep.
Okay.
Rope and net and get it all together and get going.
Cool.
Whose rope was this again?
Well, there were 3 pieces tied together.
Oh, okay.
So I
I guess this piece is mine.
So wait, if we fail, do we take damage?
If you fail what?
The heat stroke. The heat.
Yes.
The heat.
So you took
The 3 non-lethal.
yeah, the 3
Oh,
non.
3 non-lethal. I kind of like missed that in all of the things.
Oh.
Remember, every time I'm like, I always forget one thing. Well, today I forgot the pencil.
Oh. Easily remedied. Yeah, so this canyon wasn't too awfully far away from your final destination. You'd made good progress up until this point.
Yeah, we were totally gonna go meet him early in the morning. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. So it's about midday, and you continue moving for maybe like another 30-ish minutes. And as you are ending that time chunk, you seem to have arrived at the edge of what you might describe as a fairgrounds. There are tents and temporary buildings set up in a large area with many open spaces of ground in between them. You can smell food cooking and hear the sounds of shouting and music. As you move closer, you begin to make out details of the people in the crowd. These people here are all bipedal, like yourselves, but as described by the goblins you met a few days ago, they have more appendages than you do. In addition to the 2 legs upon which they stand, these people seem to have 4 arms, which they are variously using to hold extra implements for cooking or crafting or other pursuits. Their heads and faces appear insectoid with rather large eyes, complicated-looking mouths, and 2 antennae. The clothing they wear is simple, and you notice very little in the way of permanent structures here, but you do see, in scattered open spaces on the ground, around and in between the tents, there appear to be elaborate designs made of multiple colors of sand in intricate patterns, like mandala-type things. Koi, you are sort of hanging out by one of the tents at the edge of the fairgrounds for the moment, and you happen to notice a group of people, you guess, coming out of the desert towards you. There's one very short one that looks kind of... You may have seen a fish in your life before, but it looks maybe amphibian is the next closest thing you might have seen, and it has wings, and it's very small. The next largest has a whole bunch of... You know what hair is because you've seen mousefolk before, so it has a whole bunch of hair on its face and shiny armor. And then the next tallest is... doesn't have a lot of hair on its face, but does on its head, and also some sort of blue sparklies on its cheeks. And then the tallest is wearing sort of clothing in like earth tones, and also has some hair on its face, but not as much as the shorter one. But these are all bipedal humanoid creatures that you've never seen before. They're not goblins, they're not mouse folk, they're not Armans, they're nothing like anything you've ever seen before, but they appear to be just wandering out of the desert towards the fairgrounds.
Okay. Can I just observe them from a distance for a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So what are you all doing now that you've approached this area and seen these sort of the leggy ones, as the goblins called them?
So we see just a lot of these folk like just going about their day, and what kind of is it like tents that they have, or is that some other, or is it like permanently constructed type things, or what's like, what do we see?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any sort of like permanent structure here. They're like tents and lean-tos. Like they seem like they're sturdy enough to sort of be here for a few days, but like nothing is like built out of like stone or like, wooden walls and a roof kind of thing. Yeah.
Peter's dying, so it's probably his worm.
What just happened over there?
So we will continue on as he's choking on
Whoa.
screen, and we can't do anything about it.
Long distance time,
I guess we just keep. I mean, do we just
Keep going.
walk in and
I mean, I
introduce
feel
ourselves? It's what we've always done.
I feel like Kay is like so exhausted, like mentally, emotionally, from like all of the things that she would be bitching about you guys this entire time, but she just like can't even right now. So she's just like trudging along.
Cedric is also very much full trudge. Like, he's wearing heavy armor. He had to pull Kay up that canyon. He's like worn out.
You also had Fletcher fall on top of you earlier.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's had a rough day.
Did you snarp? Sorry.
Okay, so you're just sort of walking into the camp, like you said, that's worked well for you before.
Yeah, and like greet whoever we meet. I think.
Okay.
Like.
Yeah, Coy, they are continuing to walk basically straight towards you.
I mean, trudge, I think.
Well, okay, they're trudging straight towards you.
Yeah, makes sense. Do they have any like visible signs of heat exhaustion if they've taken this heat damage?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely sort of like, again, you've seen other kinds of peoples who are maybe less well adapted to the heat than your own people. And so they look a little hang-doggy, like their shoulders are slumped and, you know, their facial expressions don't look especially happy or anything like that. You wouldn't necessarily know how long they've been out in the heat, but your guesstimation is that they probably are not used to it, especially because, like I said, one of them looks kind of amphibian-y, and you know that those creatures don't really come out unless there's rain, which there isn't right now and hasn't been for a while.
True. Plus, I'm sure the simple clothing of me and my people kind of give away that heavy armor is the antithesis of what you want in a hot environment. So I might see if you guys need water, anyone, or something like that.
Yeah, you can talk to them. You can ask them.
Okay. So if they're coming straight towards me, then I guess I can't observe them from afar any longer. I'm not exactly sure the mechanics
Fletcher's
for how
probably point at this point.
Yeah, Fletcher, you're in charge.
Well, if we're walking it, whoever if we're heading in, we meet someone and say, "Hello, we saw you from afar. We've been traveling into the desert, and I think we are in need of some help because I don't know how much longer we are going to have to be out here. My name is Fletcher. She's Kay. She's dead. Apparently,
I'm dead.
Okay, well, I'm Koi, and we are having a small summer festival here, and it is pretty hot out, so I can help get you some water and food. You might want to stay probably for a couple days. It's going to be really, really hot, and you don't look that equipped for the heat.
Yeah.
No.
I come from the side of the ocean. What is this hellish landscape? No offense if you call it home. It's very beautiful. It's just a little overwhelming. You know what I mean?
You guys in home bashing. What is
No,
this?
I don't think I can offer any sort of temporary ocean home, but I do have a tent that you all can rest in for a moment.
That sounds
Date
great.
sounds good.
that'd be wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. So, we can head back to my tent. I don't know if that requires any sort of movement or timing. Okay.
Yeah.
We will follow you anywhere there is shade.
Okay. I'm pretty curious. I've never seen your type of folk before. So maybe tell me where you guys have come from or where you've come from and where you're headed.
Well,
We all talk at once.
I'm Kay. I'm human. I come from near the ocean. There's like this big kind of settlement called New Seychester, like past the desert, past the grasslands, and past the rainforest and across the river. And I'm come from there. And it's been like 5 years of us being out here.
Have you all been traveling together for the entire time?
Mm-hmm.
Most of it. It's been a few weeks now.
Years.
So what brings you to the desert?
Well, there's a river, and it's sick. But the thing that's making it sick is from somewhere this way.
We're looking for something that maybe, we don't know, introducing some kind of bad substance into the ground in sort of this region, because that is moving underground into the river, poisoning the river, and so everyone who lives along the river and in the settlement where Kay is from, they can't fish. There's no food. A lot of life depends on the river, and we're trying to track down what's causing that. And it seems to be flowing from somewhere up here somewhere, because we just came from the river towards the south.
I'm sorry, I gotta ask you. When we say river, you know what that is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I just figured, maybe like you guys don't have rivers here. It seems real dry.
Real dry, but seasonal flash floods, which provide temporary rivers. And canyons were once carved by rivers, so we know about rivers.
And you know that the big river is very far to the east at the edge of the desert, and there's a big rocky canyon that it flows through where there are a lot of sail snakes. So you don't necessarily go there a lot, but you know it's there. Yeah.
Far away, further out of the range of where I'm willing to travel on foot through the desert. But it's out there. Well, I guess I should explain what festival is going on that you all came in and saw when you came into the area. This isn't actually a permanent village. This is a collection of multiple villages of thri-kreen, and this is our summer festival. It's Shupanu Liotl, and it is a summer festival where we all gather together and have weddings and play games and have competitions. Basically, meet up with all of the people that live in the desert once a year, so that we can check in with each other and, summer festival, have competitions. So I'm not sure where to go from here.
Well, wait. Tell us more about these competitions. Are we in the tent now? Are we like?
Yeah, we're in the tent. In the tent. I have provided water. I don't have food in the tent. It's midday. Nighttime festivities will provide large feasts in the evening. So if you are in dire need of food now, I bet we could find something. But for now, I think we can chill and wait for the evening. So we're very nomadic, hunter-gatherer type people, live in the desert and hunt desert animals, desert prey. And our primary weapons are actually stone weapons. So I'm pretty curious about the metal armor that's being worn, because that's not super common for this area, not just because of the heat issues, but also just the scarcity of the material. And the main competitions we're having is what we call a Moche Toss, and it is a aerial spear throwing game where aerial targets are flying across a target range, and we hit them out of the air basically with our spears, which are called Atlatl, and it's this special weapon that's pretty unique to our area, especially the way that we've designed them. And they are a two-part throwing system that has a small lever that helps launch a long 6-foot spear. And we can launch these spears upwards of 100 feet away with pretty incredible speed and accuracy and power. And we've been using this weapon for generations to hunt. And the Moche Toss is the integral part ceremony of our people, and we do this competition every year. And winners of the competition have higher social status and win various prizes as well. That'll be the main event of the festival.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we should definitely stay for this. That sounds really.
I want to see it.
Yeah, that hasn't already happened, right? Can we watch? Or we're also sort of crashing your festival, which I apologize for.
Sorry about that.
Well, thankfully, this is like the most hospitable time of the year because we're in good moods because of the festival, so we won't mind a few extra mouths to feed and some extra spectators for our competitions. The festival goes over the course of a few days, so you haven't missed it. We'll have more competitions this evening around sundown before it gets too dark, but when the visibility is perfect, when nobody's staring at the sun while they're trying to hit these targets. Just to give a little more description, these targets... Oh,
I was just going to say, I can make water tomorrow as trade, if you want.
Make water? You might become the richest person in the thri-kreen clan if you can make water. That's pretty incredible. You probably we would definitely appreciate making water in repayment for crashing our festival. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
So this Moche Toss, these targets, they're large turkey feather shuttlecrafts, and they are launched up by the head of the competition using an Atlatl, and it launches high in the air, and then the shuttlecock kind of floats down, and it has dangling string from the shuttlecock, and our spears have these special cross pegs, which when they hit the string will tangle the string and pull down the target, showing who successfully caught the target. So you're more catching the target than hitting the target, but it simulates our hunting of birds throughout our landscape. So they have similar flight paths and helps us practice our leading the target and our hunting abilities. And so just a fun way to show off our skills.
Do you have one of these spear Atlatls? Do you have one with you right now?
Yes, IRL, I do have one. Give me one moment to grab them.
Yes.
Yes. I was just asking your character,
Okay.
But yeah, if you could.
No, sorry. I should have grabbed it ahead of time. I
you're
didn't
fine.
think about this. Yes, in my tent I have both my Atlatl and my Makwawitl, which is another weapon that is used by our people, and it is a large wooden paddle-shaped club. Imagine a cricket bat that has hand flint-knapped obsidian blades all around the edge, so it looks like a handheld chainsaw with razor-sharp obsidian glass razor blades around the edge. But imagine the size of like a cricket bat. So those are the two weapons that I have in my tent, along with my bedroll and my normal day pack and the other things that I carry as I travel throughout the desert. But I can actually go get, if that's cool.
Yes, go get them.
Yes,
Yes.
I will be back.
I imagine Kay is just like looking, what he's like describing these things, like looking at the things in the tent and just like scoots closer to Cedric.
Yeah. So all of these the thri-kreen people, like your new friend Koi, are about the same height as like Kay and Fletcher. So they're medium creatures for D&D mechanics. So his weapons are sized for someone like you. So this Makwawitl sword club thing, you're not quite sure. It looks really gnarly because there are all of these shards of obsidian all the way around it. So it looks like it could really, really hurt somebody. And the Atlatl that he's about to show you doesn't look like much, but as he's just described, it is a very deadly weapon. Yeah. And I'll wait for Angelo to come back and show you what it looks like.
I'm so excited.
Wondering
Right?
if any of these things, I mean, Fletcher has I have like no proficiency in many things. but it all sounds like very like light weapons, like that. It's like produced out of wood and these kinds of things that like they're like, I'm kind of like, maybe there'd be like an alternative sort of thing that Fletcher could barter for or do something.
Yeah. So eventually we'll sort of do the bell thing, and Angelo and I can explain to you how we sort of went about designing the stats for Atlatl, because there are lots and lots of different homebrew Atlatl stat blocks out there, but, you know, there isn't an official one, and they all sort of have varying degrees of you know, realisticness. So he and I built one. So the Atlatl would, for all of you, be considered an exotic weapon, so you would have to, like, train with it and, you know, gain exotic weapon proficiency in order to use it, but it is, because it's a ranged weapon, it uses dexterity like a bow or something like that. Yeah.
I want the razor blade club thing.
So good for a rogue to just be running in with an axe. Like...
I want it. I don't care.
Yeah. Does it function the same way as an axe for the game? I mean, like, what is?
I gave it stats like a. Wait, hold on. Let me reread what I wrote.
It's gotta be two-handed.
It has stats as a morning star because it's spiky and also slammy.
Makes sense.
Can a rogue use it?
I am back. Sorry for the delay.
You're fine. Go for it.
We're all just like, oh my god, we want these things.
Yeah.
We're talking about the stats.
Okay, I heard the tail end of the stats part. I missed a little bit of the middle there, but okay. So different thri-kreen have different types of Atlatls depending on the geographic area they're from, and the Atlatl that I use as kind of a south central thri-kreen is this style. It has these two finger loops like this, a long main shaft, a rock as a counterweight, and then this is the main part. This is the spur. I know the light is like doing terrible things with this, but it is very flat, and it has this in-cut spur, and this spur connects to the tail end of this long feathered spear.
Okay.
It's very long and thin. So it's not like a javelin. It's not like a thick thrusting spear. This is actually called a dart. And I am so sorry. I'm realizing the lighting is truly terrible. I can try to fix that.
So how?
He left it.
Bye.
Close the shades. The window.
So the spur looked heart shaped, like the yeah.
So that's
so
where it'll catch.
The hole here that's heart shaped is actually just a purely aesthetic thing. They work equally well if this is solid, but this is such a thin piece that when I carved it out, it kind of put a hole through the back, and I just ran with it and kind of kept it in. But they wouldn't always have this, and this thrower part is actually the Atlatl itself, and that's spelled ATL. And the long spear is the dart. And this Atlatl thrower is about 2 feet long, 24 inches, and the spears are 6 feet long each. And this is style for the Eastern thri-keen. And instead of having those two finger loops, it actually has this, what we call a hammer grip. And you hold it like you would a hammer, and you kind of pinch the spear here. And this hook, instead of being carved into the piece, it is protruding out of the piece. And it still has this counterweight. And then this is the Northern thri-kreen Atlatl. And instead of having two finger loops or a hammer grip, it has one single finger loop. And you hold the spear with your middle finger. And it also has a very, very short protruding spur. And just to give you a general idea of how this works, not that I can throw it.
Don't throw it in your apartment,
Jack.
Lose your security deposit.
So there's a dimple in the back of this dart. You can see that there. And dimple connects in with the spur like that. And as you throw, you flick the Atlatl, and that pushes the spur from behind the center of gravity. And then as it's flying, the spear actually bends and flexes up and down in the air, and that actually keeps it on target and kind of maintains a conservation of momentum, and pushes the dart forward a little bit more, and provides massive damage to the animals in the desert, and allows us to stay safe from predators or other enemy creatures, but also hunt very effectively. And our Atlatls are tipped with these Obsidian Spearheads, which we make ourselves. We also make spearheads out of other materials, such as flint, if we can find it, but this is a lot rarer in the desert. Obsidian is much more common in the desert. But these flint spearheads and another obsidian spearhead. I don't know how well that's. I hope that's showing up okay.
Oh
on
yeah,
camera.
yeah, that looks good. Yeah.
So these are all handmade out of the materials that we find in the desert, and that allows us to have the ability to repair our tools in the field if they ever get broken, or our weapons or anything.
We're just quiet because we're like in awe.
One of our audience, Biker Dave, would like to know what's the weight of the spearheads, and does it differ between materials, I guess?
Yes. So the different materials have very different densities, so the weight is going to change. But generally, the heads are between they can be anywhere from 10 to 25 grams. It just depends. For my IRL throwers that I use as an experimental archaeologist, I use 165 to 190 grain archery field points, which look like they're made out of metal, so they're not actually obsidian, but they're just for like experimentation or weight purposes. But this one is 175 grains. This is 190 grains. 190 grains. And I don't know the gram conversion, but I think it is, I believe I have it written here. Maybe not. Anyway, about like 15-ish grams, somewhere around there.
So overall, it's pretty light, and it's
very light, very, very light.
And it's worth pointing out those darts that he's showing you are about the height of Fletcher. Like if you stand one end of it on the ground, they're very, very long. Yeah.
The entire weight of the dart is anywhere from 4 to 7 ounces. Just depends on the length and the thickness and the material. So I have like a lighter dart here that's made out of river cane. And with river cane, you can't put a point directly on the tip, so you have to use a foreshaft. And maybe I don't have a foreshaft with me. Oh, I don't think I have a foreshaft with me. But anyway, you take a smaller stick and put it into the hole at the front of the dart. You drill out a hole using a flint or obsidian drill bit about that deep. You stick in the foreshaft. And that allows us to use shorter, like 5-foot main shafts. If in the desert, we can't find a long 6-foot stick. If we can find a shorter stick, we can extend it by using this method of the foreshaft. And the benefit of that as well is that the foreshaft will stick into our prey and the main shaft will fall out, which preserves the main shaft, because if this whole shaft, being 6 feet long, is sticking into the side of an animal and it thrashes in the woods or in the desert, it can hit a bush and just snap the shaft. So if the foreshaft kind of pops out, then I only have to carry two or three of these main shafts and a small pouch of foreshafts that have a variety of different sizes and shapes of points, depending on the type of prey or enemy that I'm fighting, and allows me a little bit more versatility. So that the foreshaft technology is pretty unique to our people as well. Specifically, the central southwestern thri-kreen that throw this type of Atlatl are also known for having that foreshaft technology in their darts, whereas other thri-kreen and other Atlatl users using different types of Atlatls don't necessarily always have that foreshaft. It's kind of a regional specific innovation. Same thing with the finger loops, which prevent elbow injury when you're throwing. This hammer grip style, can give you tennis elbow over a lifetime of use, and the finger loops transfer that into your wrist, so you kind of balance the strain between the two joints. And it is going to still probably cause some long-term orthopedic damage, but it's not going to be as bad as if you just had the normal style of Atlatl.
It's the strain is distributed a little better.
So, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I imagine wielding any weapon over a lifetime would probably do damage to a person, so, you know.
True. Very true.
I was just reading an article about how, like, you can see skeletal deformities on English longbowmen from that use over lifetimes.
So archaeologists have identified an arthritic condition that they deem Atlatl elbow, that shows up in the right elbow of populations that had extreme Atlatl use. And the first skeleton, the oldest skeleton to have this documented is a skeleton named the Mungo Man in Anthology, Archaeology, and it was excavated about 43,000 years ago. It lived 43,000 years ago, excavated, 50 years ago, and it had one of the worst cases of Atlatl elbow ever documented, to the point where his elbow likely had close to fused shut at the end of his life, and probably was incredibly painful. But considering that it's only in one elbow, but predominantly the right elbow, and that we have modern Atlatl throwers who exhibit similar injuries towards the end of their careers, that we're able to make this connection.
Wow.
However, the thri-kreen, being arthropod humanoids, probably don't have that problem.
Probably don't
because they don't have
problem,
joints inside. They have joints outside.
I also just wanted to show off what we use as knives as well. So this is a pretty, for our people, I should say, not necessarily super historically accurate, but for the thri-kreen, we'll call this a standard knife. It's about 5.5 inches, made out of mahogany obsidian. Again, hand napped to be razor sharp, and sometimes used in the hand, sometimes hafted to a stick as a handle. But this is my toolkit.
This young man who's welcomed you into his tent is armed to the mandibles.
Come into my house, let me show you all of my weapons.
We're very friendly. We're so welcoming. Look at our festival. Also, here's all the ways we can kill you if you misbehave.
You've interrupted our festival. Here are my weapons.
You're using them for games.
Yeah.
We should have stayed in that canyon.
Yeah. Definitely, just be on your best behavior. Not that this is related, but a Makawito can actually decapitate a horse with one hit. So we have many ways to dispose of our enemies if we're crossed.
You hear that, Cedric?
I'm sure we'll all be very polite, right?
We're so polite. We're the most
Right,
polite
Cedric?
people
We're
you've ever
a very
met.
polite group. We're always very polite.
Right, Cedric?
Yeah.
Nautia is staring daggers at Cedric.
Cedric doesn't notice. Yeah, would it be okay to ask if you would trade one of the macho weetles? I'm saying that wrong.
That's okay. Yeah, the Makwa Weetle.
Makwa.
Makwa Weetle. I would trade a spare Makwa Weetle. There are also vendors at the festival later that may be selling wares. So that might be a better place to get an Atlatl or a Makwa Weetle or Obsidian tools or any of the other wares that my people make, such as baskets as well, pottery, things like that.
Cool. Yeah.
And there are
Wonderful.
other games and forms of entertainment happening besides the Moche Toss. There are also there's a handful of other games that are sort of athletic games, and then there's also a game that's more like the at a county fair where you toss ping pong balls at bowls of goldfish. There's something that's kind of like that too.
The rigged skill games.
This one's not rigged, but yeah.
So will you be competing tonight?
Definitely. So I'm of the prime competition age where a big part of my coming of age and development into a higher class member of the society is placing well at these events in my mid-20s. So I will be competing, and I hope to be able to say that I'm a favorite to place very well this year.
All right.
Doing this for a long time. I was very young and compete every year. So I've been making and throwing Atlatls for 10 years, a little over 10 years now, and hopefully that'll give me the background necessary to place well at competition.
Well, we will cheer you on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how time dilation happens, but it could be time to start the festival or just go to the competition grounds now.
Yeah, you guys can sort of, shoot the breeze until it's time and we can jump forward in time. Yeah, it's like TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think we'd definitely be resting in the shade of this tent with some water until the sun was starting to go down anyway. I don't think we're ready to go back out
Perfect.
again.
Yeah.
Cedric is hungry before
Of course.
when it's still the sun is still up.
We tell him to
before
wait.
we move on then, any last questions about like Atlatl and stuff before? I figure this is a good time before we get back into the action to kind of go through some of these things that I have.
Yeah. If we're just like breaking out to talk more about Atlatl as a technology.
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll ring the bell so that we're like officially
Officially
OOC.
out.
Okay, so out of character. Yeah, so Angelo, when you were saying like, oh, these regional Atlatl designs, so those you said like South Central and Northern and stuff. So where do those correspond to in real world geography?
Okay, so this style with the finger loops is called a basket maker style. It is the most like hyper specific style that is very well documented. It is from the American Southwest and northern Mexico. However, dual finger loop style Atlatls, there's like evidence of them as far down as the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, but the primary users were in the American Southwest in the desert. So specifically like southern Nevada, northern Arizona, and that's also where most of the Atlatl artifacts in the world have been excavated, because the dry climate preserves things like wood and leather better. So there are more Atlatl artifacts of any kind have been found in the American Southwest than anywhere else in the world. And although we have that osteoarthritic evidence of Atlatl use potentially going back as far as like 45,000 BCE, the oldest concrete archaeological evidence of Atlatls is about 17,500 BCE, and that's in Paleolithic Pleistocene France. So this was a very universal weapon used all over the world. In fact, it is one of the most universal weapons of all time. It is also arguably the oldest mechanical invention in human history. So this is the first time that any sort of lever, like a simple machine, was implemented. And specifically, this is the first, what we call a compound weapon, complex weaponer tool. So in archaeological terms, a compound weapon is any weapon that, or a compound tool, I should say, because weapons are just tools. Compound tools are any tool that has two different materials permanently attached together. So if I take my knife and I glue a stick to it to make a handle, it is now a compound weapon. A complex weapon is when you have two parts to like a simple machine that detach in some way, that are not permanently connected. So a bow and arrow is a complex weapon. An atlatl and dart is a complex weapon. A sling, on the other hand, is more of a kind of a simple weapon because it doesn't have multiple parts. The ammunition is not really like a part. However, the reason that the dart is included in the ammunition of the atlatl is because the darts are engineered, honestly have more physics and engineering put into them than the atlatl itself. You can take any stick with this little hook and it works as an atlatl, but the darts actually are where all the magic happens. So they're really highly specified, fine-tuned machines, the darts themselves. And so this more hammer grip atlatl is more common kind of like northeastern or east coast of North America, and the older styles, like the Pleistocene styles of Europe, where this more hammer grip style, the Ice Age atlatls would have, instead of having like a wooden spur, the stick would maybe come to like here, and then they would attach an antler piece that they would carve into like an animal figurine that has a spur, and then tie the antler onto the stick, or they would drill holes into the stick to like have lashings for the antler. So in that sense, the atlatl itself would have been a compound weapon, right? Because it has the stick and the antler, whereas the basket maker style is always one piece. So the spur is carved into the atlatl. So there are basically three things that make a basket maker atlatl a basket maker atlatl. The first is the recessed spur, so the carved in spur instead of the protruding spur. The second is the dual finger loops, and the third is the counterweight here. It's pretty typical of the American Southwest. And then, I just found the force shaft, by the way, that I was trying to show earlier. So that foreshaft, I can show that now. This is just a short, like 6-inch foreshaft that'll slide into the socket here, but it's not so firm that it won't come. So it can very easily pop out, but it's definitely in there enough so that it can handle the throw. I don't know how I was able to just find that when I couldn't find it earlier. And then this style with the 1-finger loop that I said was the northern thri-kreen, this is an Arctic style. So anywhere in the Arctic Circle, and even as far down as the like Pacific Northwest. So the Tlingit peoples, the Inuit, the Alutiiq, Aleutians, they all use a similar style. Their atlatls were much shorter because they were throwing into the water or on the water to hunt waterfowl and seal as like a harpoon. But this is a Alaskan or Arctic style that's been kind of like sized up to be a terrestrial thrower versus an aquatic thrower. The darts of different peoples around the world also were a little bit different. So in the Arctic Circle, because they're throwing into the water, you don't want as much flexibility in the dart, and like a longer dart has more of that like refraction effect in the water. So they're usually shorter, like 4-foot darts or harpoons, but the physics behind it is the same. In the American Southwest, 5 to 5.5-foot darts are more common. Most parts of the world, 6-foot to 7-foot is common. And then in Australia, their atlatls are unlike any other atlatl elsewhere in the world. They call their atlatls woomras. That's Woomera. And it is, okay, I guess the best analog might be to start by describing, like, we'll start with something like this, or actually this, well, the Alaskan atlatl. But imagine if this part was much wider, like this wide, along the whole thing. So very wide, and if it was cupped like a, like that.
Huh.
Almost like this, along the entire length. And then it would come to a point on both sides, and one side would be the handle, and then the other side would be the spur. Woomras often have some sort of like a glue gum type of, they would take the end of the stick and dip it in like a glue or gum that would make this large ball that they would kind of hold on to, like a handle. And then they could even glue like a little flint knife into that end. In the bowl of the woomera, they could collect berries. They would paint maps of either the stars or the landscape on both sides, and then they would even put notches on the edges for friction fires to rub the stick into the notch, and it creates heat. So with one atlatl or one woomera and dart, it's like an outback survival kit. You've got fire starter.
It's a multi-tool.
Yeah,
it's a multi-tool. It's like a Swiss Army knife. You've got your collector, you've got a map, you've got a knife, you've got your, I mean, you can use it as a club. You know, you've got, obviously you can throw something at it, and they would hunt kangaroo with atlatls. There's actually a video, I believe it's like a 1971, 1960s, 1970s National Geographic video of Aborigines in Australia who nail a speeding kangaroo at like however fast kangaroo run. I'm going to guess like 45 miles an hour plus.
Like 40, I think my headphones just died. Can you hear me still?
yes.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
still
fine.
hearing.
Yeah.
At like 40 or 50 yards with this 8-foot long woomera spear launched with this woomera. And because their spears are longer, their woomeras are longer as well. Instead of being like 2 feet, they're more like 3 feet, because more leverage equals more power. And if you're going to have a bigger spear, you're going to have a bigger woomera. So the word atlatl, though, is kind of the catch-all, or like spear thrower, or atlatl is kind of what it's very commonly known as, especially in the Western Hemisphere. Atlatl is a Nahuatl word, which is the language of the Aztec people. Language of the Nahua people, who we identify as the Aztec Empire. Nahua people still live in Mexico to this day, and they still speak Nahuatl. And that TL, I don't even know what to call it, but that TL sound is like typical of the Nahuatl language. It shows up in so many of their words. The salamander, the axolotl, is also...
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, I thought they might have been from the Mexico region. I was like, kind of sounds like axolotl.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, axolotl is part of the same language family, and then it's actually a lot of groups, even in the American Southwest, speak or have their languages branched from Uto-Aztecan, which then kind of split into the Aztecan Nahuatl branch, and then like the Ute branch of languages, where we get like Paiute and Utah from. Really, really interesting how this all kind of ties in, and all these people kind of use the same weapon and it traveled with them. So my character's name, Kui, is actually a play on a
one of the most famous kings of Teotihuacan, which was a pre-Columbian Mexican civilization that existed before the Aztecs, around the same time as the classic Maya empires existed. Not that the classic Maya were one cohesive empire, but at the same time of the classic Maya in southern Mexico and northern Guatemala and Belize, Teotihuacan was a separate empire happening in the Central Valley of Mexico. And a Teotihuacan general / king, it's hard to know from the archaeological records, but it seems like a general from Teotihuacan came and either somehow exerted extreme diplomatic pressure, either through conquering the Maya states or establishing some sort of other diplomatic power, in the name of the king of Teotihuacan at the time, which was Hatzomcuy, which translates to spear thrower owl or Atlatl owl. So this guy, this king, was named after Atlatls, basically. And we can track the spread and influence of the Atlatl weapon through glyphs and stuff that happen in the Maya region after this general brings this king through the Maya area. So, although the Maya people likely had Atlatls before, the importance of the Atlatl in a cosmological sense was kind of really pushed by the Teotihuacanos, and that was also pushed by the Aztecs later. So the Aztecs came from northern Mexico, the Nahua came from northern Mexico into central Mexico after Teotihuacan had collapsed, found the Teotihuacan ruins, assumed that that was like the city of the gods, basically, kind of misinterpreted the history, co-opted some of their history, the Teotihuacan history, in order to make up for the fact that they were transplants into the Central Valley of Mexico from northern Mexico, and establish some sort of like, oh, we actually descend from that old kingdom that used to be here 100 years ago, and developed theological and cosmological significance to the Atlatl as a weapon as well. Everywhere else in the world, like Eurasia basically stopped using the Atlatl around 15,000 BCE when the bow and arrow was introduced, but the native groups of the Americas, and particularly the Aztec, potentially because they put theological, like religious importance on the use of the Atlatl, continued to use the Atlatl alongside the bow and arrow up until European contact. In fact, specifically for the Aztecs, they revered the Atlatl as like a more supreme weapon over the bow and arrow, which is ironic because everywhere else in the world saw it the exact other way around. So that's why Atlatls are called Atlatls, and the Spanish had no clue what to make of them when they saw them. So there was a lot of like Spanish writing that mischaracterizes or miscategorizes Atlatls. And by the time that the Spanish had gotten to that area, Atlatls had become such a symbol that like there were these like extremely ornate ceremonial Atlatls that looked so different from the actual Atlatls that you'd use, that there's a theory that a lot of Spaniards, when they wrote certain words to describe these like scepters or serpent, or like these scepters that the kings were holding, well, it's actually they were just decorative Atlatls that the kings were holding, but they didn't recognize that. And they kind of had understood like, oh, they have this spear throwing weapon, and then they kind of got that, but they didn't see the connection between that and all these like religious items that the kings and the priests were using or holding. In fact, and this is kind of like super sad, but one of the first gifts that the Aztecs gifted to Hernan Cortez when they landed in Mexico, and like the Aztec had a very strong network of spies and messengers, so as soon as something happened at the outskirts of the kingdom, the people in the middle of the kingdom knew pretty quickly. So the first thing they really sent out as one of the first like gift sets potentially were 3 Atlatls that were either painted turquoise or carved out of turquoise crystal, with accompanying darts that were equally ornate, and they had gemstones in them. So the Spaniards describe receiving a gift of these. They had no word for them. They just said these items that are turquoise and have gems in them and are inlaid with gold, and these other like spear type things, but they didn't understand that they were Atlatls or that they were connected. And then there was almost no record of them, so they shipped them in a crate with a bunch of these other Aztec things that they've looted, shipped it in a crate back to King Frederick of the Holy Roman Empire, who had controlled Spain at that time, and it was put into various dungeons, like literal dungeons in Germany and lost and or forgotten about. Some of them have turned up over the years, some of these artifacts, some of these writings. In like the late 1800s, there's a archaeologist named Zelia Natal who went to Dresden, Germany, and rediscovered a crate of these old writings that describe Atlatls, and was the first person to put together all the puzzle pieces and like decipher the Spanish's explanations of what they were seeing. But she was unable to find any record of like where those crystal Atlatls ended up. A lot of the stuff that was looted from the Aztecs just got taken apart and remade into other jewelry for the colonizers in Europe. So they were likely either lost or dismantled and turned into other items 500 years ago. So that would be, though, if I had to write an Indiana Jones sequel, and I know that there's one coming out.
Right.
It would be so good.
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Lost Turquoise Atlatl of the Aztec Empire.
Yes.
It's a mouthful of a title, but
over
I
the
love
last
it.
500 years, there's so many ways that those could have been lost in Europe over the last
Exactly.
500 years.
Yeah.
Now, there is a story that in the Last Stand, remember the Alamo moment in Tenochtitlan. So the Aztec tried to conquer the Spanish twice. In 1519, they were pushed back after assassinating the king of the Aztecs, and they kind of assumed that they could just like kill the king and then just kind of secretly just take over. But the Aztec were way too kind of organized for that, so they pushed them back. They came back in 1521 with reinforcements. By then, smallpox had ravaged the Aztec Empire, so they came back with even less resistance. But the Atlatls were used heavily against the Spaniards. And it is written by one of the Spanish that, like, in the final moments of the end of the battle, one of the priests or one of the generals instructed a soldier to go into the temple of Huitzilopochtli, which was their war god, and take down the sacred Atlatl of Huitzilopochtli, which different interpretations. Either they believed this to be the actual Atlatl of the gods, which launched fire when you threw it. And it like never been thrown. It'd been like in this temple for generations or whatever, and it was carved beautifully. While we associate red and orange with fire, the color representative for fire for the Aztec was turquoise, or shiwi or shiwu. It's like Xihu was like their root for that turquoise color that represents fire and also represents Atlatls because they're all part of the same kind of cosmology. So anyway. Theoretically, there was some like all-powerful mystical Atlatl that was used in the final battle as a last-ditch effort by the Aztec to save themselves, and that Atlatl didn't, I don't think, make it back to Europe. So there was destroyed in the battle or somewhere lost, who knows when. But I think that specific Atlatl could be the MacGuffin for the Indiana Jones.
Sure, yeah.
But there already is this like mystical element to it. Which is kind of interesting. And all of that stuff that I just explained was just like written about and compiled by that Zelia Natal archaeologist from the 1890s, who was also possibly, and I worked with, I kind of researched this a little bit, but possibly the first women in any social science field to hold a title of professor in any university in the world. So she was professor of archaeology at the National Institute, or the National Institute or National University of Mexico in like 1897 or something like that, which was well before most colleges were even allowing women to be students, let alone faculty.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Well, I mean, I hate the colonizer part, but like I love all of the interesting history, and like that's not stuff that we get taught in school. So yeah.
I actually was just thinking back how much of that there is just so Texas schools teach Texan history. That's a whole subject, 2 years, one in elementary, one in middle school, and they just ever so briefly right at the beginning will brush upon some of the native history. And I was trying to think because a couple of those sounded familiar context, but yeah. That's for the most part, that stuff is just not taught in American education.
And the reason I got into Atlatls is because in a fourth grade
third or fourth grade Nevada history, so I'm from Nevada history textbook class type of thing. There was, and I don't know, if this is like a reference everyone gets, but in those textbooks, like in those elementary school textbooks, they always have like extra tidbits or little facts explained. It's just like a one sentence little blurb, and it's usually corresponds to like something that the main text of the textbook is talking about. So this was talking about hunter-gatherer history of Nevada, and then a tiny one-sentence blurb on the margin was like, the Native Americans of Nevada used a weapon called the Atlatl to hunt bighorn sheep. That's all it said. No picture, no description, no explanation, just that. And that was enough for me to like, I was like, okay, wait, I want to learn, I want to know more about this. Like, why is this only one sentence in the textbook? So that's what pushed me to start researching Atlatls, and then I've been making them and researching them basically ever since.
That's amazing.
That's really, really cool. So
a little over 10 years, and then I joined, there's a World Atlatl Association that runs competitions internationally, and I joined them like 5 or 6 years ago, started competing with them, and then I was elected to the board of directors for the World Atlatl Association 2 years ago. So now I'm in a more official capacity organizing competitions, and also I do a lot of Atlatl outreach, public education type of stuff. So local like natural history museums or university groups, K through 12 schools. I've worked with the Bureau of Land Management, the State Park Service, national parks, like anything that'll have me do any sort of presentation, I'll try to offer myself to do that. So I have like a mobile Atlatl rig that I take places with a pop-up target and let people try to throw, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Love it, love it, love it.
Very. Yeah, did you wanna sort of explain our thought process behind the stat block that we built for the Atlatl based on how you compare it to other ancient weapons?
Yeah, so there was a research paper in 1986 called The Ballistics of the Atlatl by Raymond Anand, and it was like one of the first physics papers written on the Atlatl and its power and stuff like that. And it's like the most cited kind of thing for this type of stat comparisons. And basically, Atlatls, they are very light and thin compared to like a hand-thrown javelin. But I don't know if any of you have tried to throw a javelin before or any sort
I have. Yeah, in the Amazon, like they let you try and throw the traditional javelin. I'm very bad at it. I'm also very bad at the blow dart. So okay, hold on. So you get to like shoot the blow dart, right? And I brought my cousin who's almost nearly blind. Like she has an autoimmune disease that's eating her eyes. We're in a group, right? We all try and shoot the papaya with the blow dart. All of us sighted people miss it. The one blind girl shoots the papaya with the with the blow dart. I was like, fuck it, I'm going home.
That's great. But yeah, I find that I wonder if you said it was your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see them try to use an Atlatl now. If they can hit a papaya with a blow
Maybe
dart.
I've thrown the like traditional javelins, and I've like shot the traditional blow darts. I'm very bad at both of them.
So javelins and like hand thrown spears thrown overhand like that are very, very ineffective weapons at distances, especially, and people assume because the Olympic record for javelin throw is 103 meters, and that they see TVs and movies where people like successfully take down relatively large animals with a spear throw from considerable distance, that's accurate in any way, shape, or form. The body mechanics for throwing something like that is actually like very poor, especially something like a spear. And it's generally accepted that like the maximum effective range of a weapon like that is 5 to 7 meters, which is very, very short for range. Wow. So if you imagine, like even there's a study done, and it's kind of funny. There are these spears that were found. They're 400,000 years old. They are technically 380,000 years old. They're called the Schernangen Spears, and they were a collection of long hunting spears that were used by Neanderthals to hunt prehistoric horses 380,000 years ago. And these were discovered in like the middle of the 20th century. And there's like 7 of them. They're like 7 feet long, maybe like 2 inches or maybe like an inch to 2 inches in diameter, and there's been a big debate: were these thrusting weapons or were these throwing weapons? And a study done like 2 years ago took a bunch of collegiate, like top collegiate javelin throwers, and had them who all have like normally can throw a javelin, 85 meters, right? Which is, at the top end of like a collegiate track and field type of event. World record's like 103 meters. And had them try to throw on a flat trajectory, not like an arcing just a flat trajectory at a target 20 feet in front of them. And many of them were not able to hit the target or even get the spear to reach the target, despite normally being able to throw 3 times that distance, just because of the mechanics of it. So, Atlatls, on the other hand, even though they're not as heavy as those javelins, because they're traveling so much faster, they have a really huge impact force. So, Atlatl darts generally travel at about 70 to 85 miles an hour, and you can imagine something like this, which isn't that heavy, but is quite large and sharp, coming at you, spiraling at 80 miles an hour. This is going to carve a large hole. And that's one of the benefits of an Atlatl, is that you have this like very, like the advantage of any broadhead basically is that you're going to have a very large damage potential. So accuracy for Atlatls, maximum effective range is about 25 meters. So much, much better than throwing spears at 7 meters, but not as good as bow and arrows, which especially modern recurve or compound bows have a maximum effective range of like 100 meters. It's unbelievable, right? Like I think standard Olympic range is 70 meters, and they're nailing perfect 10s like all the time. So, but in terms of what we'd call a self bow, or what some people would call a primitive bow, even though I don't use that term, your distance and range with an Atlatl and a bow and arrow are going to be almost identical, very, very similar. The difference is that the bow is going to be more precise, and really though, like within 15 meters, a top Atlatl thrower and a self bow archer is going to have very similar accuracy. The throwing motion though is very like big, and I like to call it visually loud. As the Pleistocene ended and the Ice Age ended, and you went from hunting giant ground sloths and woolly mammoths to hunting deer and bighorn sheep, which are small, fast, and skittish, and as the icy tundra gets replaced with deciduous forest, you have less room to swing your arm. The throwing motion is going to scare a deer, but the motion to release an arrow is this. That's it. And it doesn't require any headspace. So that's the real, like, one of the posited reasons is why bow and arrow was preferred over the Atlatl. Not necessarily because it was more powerful, because it's really not, especially those like earlier bows. And not necessarily because it's more accurate. We'd assume that lifetime hunters in 20,000 BCE probably were very, very accurate in Atlatl, and it probably, again, with modern experimentation, self bows are pretty comparably accurate to Atlatls. So the range is going to be like 2 or 3 times that of a hand thrown spear, about half of a bow and arrow, but with 2 to 3 times the damage of a bow and arrow because the spear is so much longer.
And so the way we wound up after talking this out and sort of comparing the stats, so for all of your reference, a javelin has a range increment of 30 feet. So if you try to throw a javelin in D&D further than 30 feet, it'll be at a penalty. Throwing a spear, the penalty starts after 20 feet. So they got that, I guess, pretty close to right. That's not a very far distance, but the book still says that, like, so for the javelin, since the range increment is 30 feet, that means that technically you could throw a javelin up to a maximum of 150 feet, which seems like a lot. So, they're a little off. But what we did with the Atlatl and dart was say that the range increment is 80 feet, which puts it smack dab in between the range increments for short bows, which Kay has, and a long bow. So that means that you can throw the dart without any penalty up to 79 feet or whatever, and then the penalty starts.
And that's super accurate because that's the exact, like I said, that 20 to 25 meter range. The top throwers in the world have near perfect. They're hitting a target probably about that big, which is the size of the 10 ring at Atlatl tournaments, at 70 feet 90% of the time, which is crazy. And the world record for Atlatl throw for distance is, okay, again, for reference, 103 meters is the world record for a javelin throw. That's modern Olympics, perfect mechanics, perfect form. World record for an Atlatl using only traditional materials is about 189 meters. And the world record using modern carbon fiber materials is 273 meters at about 100 miles an hour.
I think Peter wants one.
That's wild.
I'm just thinking about like I would feel solid about a rifle shot at that range. Like that would be like that's wow.
Yeah, and for the rough conversion, that's 856 feet for that maximum distance throw. Pretty terrifying weapons. I will share, before we go back into scene, because I think this will kind of end the Atlatl portion, and since we're talking about the damage, there is a writing from a Spanish conquistador or priest during the conquest who talks about the damage inflicted against the Spaniards by the Atlatls. And I don't, who knows the truth or the veracity of some of these claims, right? But this is roughly what was written. Modern experiments have proven that obsidian-tipped Atlatls will go through chainmail, like poses no issue. So this is the story. Spanish conqueror on a horse. Atlatl dart comes from 100 meters away, goes through the chainmail in his leg, through the chainmail on the other side, into the horse, kills the horse, pins him to the horse, and he's pinned to the horse as the horse topples, and that's how he dies, bleeding out from his leg.
Wow.
Obsidian.
Amazing.
Wow.
Also, once this goes in, you're not going to pull it out. You're just pushing it through and pulling the whole thing through the wound. And especially obsidian will fracture and explode into shrapnel in the wound. So obsidian is the sharpest natural. Let me back up. Obsidian is the sharpest material, natural or otherwise, period, ever discovered on the planet Earth. When flaked right, a single flake or edge of obsidian can go down to 1 micron thick. So it slices through at an almost molecular level. It is unbelievably sharp. It's like 20 times sharper than surgical steel or something crazy like that. So there are ophthalmologists or optometrists, whichever one does the surgery part, that have experimented with using obsidian blades for cataract surgery because it's so sharp that the wound
super clean cut.
Really bleed. It's a clean cut, and it doesn't. They heal like twice as fast as even surgical steel, because even surgical steel is really tearing through the flesh. Obsidian, because it gets like to a molecule thick, truly definitionally slices through materials. It is unbelievable material. So I can imagine that exploding into a wound if it hits like a leg bone or something, with all that tiny shrapnel. And then again, the Makwawitl is an entire broadsword with obsidian shrapnel all around the edge, on all the way around. So yeah, the whole decapitating a horse also comes from Spanish writing. The way they would kind of do it is it's like part bashing weapon, part slashing weapon. So they would hit and then drag the sword through the wound, which all that obsidian just slice the way down. So it's this kind of like half chopping, half slashing motion that's really unique to the weapon, and that allows you to go through like the swing will break a bone, and then the slashing will cut through all the flesh in between, and that's how you can like get relatively clean decapitations with stuff like this. It's pretty insane.
And when he told me all of this about the obsidian, so again, as Angelo showed us before, there are multiple different ways multiple different materials that people would make the dart heads out of. And so if you're using a flint or chert head using our Atlatl stats for D&D, it does the normal damage that we've written, and you guys may have heard this before. I know, because Nancy K uses a bow. There's a rule in D&D about being able to recollect at the end of a combat something like 50% of the arrows that you used or whatever. So the flint or chert heads for the Atlatl darts are the same way. You can collect approximately 50% of them after a combat's over. But with the obsidian dart heads, because they shatter, they have a much lower recollection rate, so it's only 25% chance, but they have a high chance of doing extra damage because of the shrapnel effect. So yeah, we actually customized the weapon damage based on which kind of dart head you're using. Yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
cool.
And again,
Do we have money?
Amazing.
And again, because I'm using, because I'm a southwestern or south central western type of that area of thri-kreen, and I'm using that basket maker style Atlatl, which does use the 4 shafts. I have think of it like Hawkeye's quiver, where he has a bunch of different tips to the same shafts in the Avengers. So I have a pouch with me that has all the different types of tips depending on what I'm throwing with the materials, so I only have to carry 3 shafts. I think, did we specify that we specified I'm carrying 3 shafts, or no?
That sounds right.
Okay, yeah, 3 shafts, and then a bunch of these little 4 shafts with different tips.
Yeah. So it's very, very cool. I had so much fun talking through this with him so we could build our stat block. So this sounds like a great sort of pause to the science conversation, at least for right now, because we'll probably come back and talk about the other part of this story when we get to it. But this seems like a great place for us to take our 15-minute break. So thank you for everybody who's been hanging out in the chat. We appreciate you being here with us. We're going to take a 15-minute break instead of our normal 10-minute break because Nancy's dog is sick. But we'll be back in 15 minutes. Go get a snack, some water, take a stretch for your legs, whatever you need to do. And we will see you back here real soon. Thanks, everybody. We're back! Hello! Veronica's not here today to be scared by me saying we're back. But hello, everyone else! We're back! We missed you! Boo! We hope you got some refreshments, stretch your legs, pet your pets, whatever. I want to start with Biker Dave asked a great question. It sounds like he is just as excited about these ancient weapons as Peter was getting. So Biker Dave would like to know, after watching a video of this, he would like to know, how do you aim with an Atlatl and dart? Because he says with his compound bow, he has an eye loop and a sight to aim. So how does one aim?
Yeah. So first you pray, and then you launch, and then you just... No. Actually, the aiming, obviously, there is no such thing as Atlatl sights or any sort of aiming tools. So unlike many other ranged weapons, which have some sort of sights, even simple bows have the ability to kind of sight. With Atlatls, you're kind of just aiming down the shaft. A lot of it is muscle memory, and it's just pure repetition and practice. There really is no sight. The one tip that I will suggest, and I can't really demonstrate it, but a lot of beginners, they'll have the Atlatl like this, and they'll kind of have it right to the side of their body, and as they're about to, then they'll aim down the shaft at the target, and then right when they're about to throw, they reach back. And now what has happened? Their aim is off because they were aiming with their arm like this, and then they reached back. And when you reach back, you naturally you naturally drop your wrist down, which causes the tip of the arrow to go up. So they aim flat at the target, they reach back, now they're aiming 10 feet above the target, and then they finish following through the throw. And where the dart actually goes is 10 feet above the target. So I tell people, start with your arm cocked back as far as it's going to be in the natural windup of your throw. So if you naturally are going to wind up here, that's where you start. Aim there, and then during the throwing motion, 100% of your motion should be towards the target straight forward, not this back and then forward. So that is my tip for accuracy. Not that I came up with that tip, but that's what I always tell people. And I do between probably 18 to 24 Atlatl throwing workshops and events throughout the year for for kids as young as second grade, like 7, 8 years old, all the way up. So I've seen a lot of the same like mistakes over and over and over, and I've kind of refined the whole teaching practice down to a science. I would venture to guess that I do more Atlatl throwing, like public workshops, than any other person at all. I don't know the exact stats on that, but that would be my gut instinct, because like I basically know everyone who throws Atlatl, so there's not that many people out there, and like as a college student, I'm the only one that has the free time to be able to do as many as I do. So yeah, I think I've gotten really good at teaching beginners how to throw and how to throw accurately, because I've spent more time practicing that skill. Like I spend more time teaching people to throw Atlatls than I throw Atlatls myself. So yeah, those are my tips for.
Oh, that's really cool. So it sounds like it's mostly like eye contact with the target and then the follow through, right?
Yep. Yeah. Basically, follow through all the way, and you're just kind of sighting down the length of the spear as it's being held in front of you, and kind of lining up the point with where you want to go into the target. Very similar to the way that you aim with like archery that doesn't have a sight, like a bare bow or a self bow. Very, very kind of similar aiming mechanism, but then obviously the mechanics of the throw provide way more variables than the release of an arrow, so you have to compensate for that. But given it enough time, like I said, advanced Atlatl throwers have developed muscle memory to nail almost any target with just amount of accuracy as somebody with a bow. So yeah.
That's super cool. Oh man, love it. Okay, so we've learned quite a bit about how these ancient weapons work. Now we can pop you folks back into the action wherever you'd like. It sounds like maybe you wanted to time jump a little bit and get to that early evening time to approach the Moche Toss. Is that where you'd like to start? See the games?
Yeah.
Okay.
We probably can pick up some like fry bread or some food along the way. And the rest of you can snack while I compete. And maybe how about for the first couple rounds, I'm not competing yet, and I talk you through how the competition works, and then I go compete, and probably will have to roll to see how well I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
and there's even the option for you to teach all of these brand new friends of yours how to do it as well. They don't have to compete necessarily, but you could teach them if you feel like it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sure. So
what's up, Cindy?
I was also going to say, I can actually make water today still. So if we wanted some currency for food and shopping on the way, we could do that.
Definitely. So food and shopping on the way, we can do that.
Yeah. So it's easy enough for you to pick up some... it's easy enough for you to pick up some, like you said, fry bread, or like, these are another people that have insects as part of their diet, and also some meats. As he mentioned, there are birds and small and large mammals and reptiles in the desert that they hunt. So there's a variety of things available to you. There's also, Cedric, a new and exotic kind of vegetable for you to try if you'd like.
Yes, I would absolutely love.
They have Nopales. Because you couldn't be in the desert without Nopales.
Of course.
So those big succulent plants with the spines that you saw earlier that you were all trying not to walk into, those pads, the leaves, have now been shaved of their spikes and cut into pieces and grilled, and are available for you to try if you'd like to eat something green today.
Yeah, I would eat anything with fry bread, so I'll eat whatever.
Awesome. Yeah. And yeah, Nautia, if you want to spend create water, you can make how much?
I can make 2 gallons per level, so I can make 4 gallons, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd say we'd keep a little for ourselves, and then say, hey, do you want, like, what would our water skins even hold?
That is a great question. Let's look up a water skin. I don't know how much of that.
I definitely have had this argument relatively recently. I imagine them being like a liter and a half.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's very much per water skin.
God damn it, D&D. All it says is, a water skin is a leather pouch with a narrow neck that is used for holding water. No, duh. They have no
it's
capacity
made out of
on
skin.
It. Yeah.
Especially in 3.5, everything is so granular, and you're not going to give us the volume of the...
Like, there's tables for everything else. They're just like, it holds water. Like, cool. Okay.
I think a liter... Well, actually, a liter probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I think so.
Right? Like anything bigger than that, it seems like really awkward to carry, especially for like a floppy thing, without putting it in another bag or something.
It wouldn't be floppy if it was full of water. So I can see up to like a 2-liter soda bottle would still fit on your side relatively reasonably, I think.
Only if you're wearing Jinkos.
Honestly, a liter is a lot less volume than we may imagine. So I would even venture to guess up to like 2 liters or half gallon might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of picturing a camelback.
Plausible.
I was just gonna say ye olde camelback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, we'd have at least 2 gallons to barter.
All right, you got everybody has to roll to see what organ their water skin is made out of and from what animal. So that'll determine the size.
If it's made out of an organ, it wouldn't be a water skin. It would be a water bladder.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that a common thing to make water skins out of? I thought water skin was just kind of a...
Anyway, we're not doing this right now. Anyway, yeah, so you have two gallons-ish of water to barter with, and the thri-kreen are very impressed with this. You definitely are getting some weird looks, like, not super-duper weird, kind of like the mouse folk level of weird, where, like, you were obviously an object of curiosity, but, like, they've seen other kinds of people before. They've never seen anything like any of you, so you're definitely interesting, but it's not like they've never seen anyone that didn't look exactly like them before. Yeah. And with Koi helping to sort of negotiate, you're able to use that water to buy food and things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
okay.
The thri-kreen, like, they're very insect-like in appearance, right?
Yeah, exoskeleton and everything. Yeah.
Okay, but they don't look. So the only other like sentient insects that we've encountered were the ambrosia beetles, right? Like had weapons and things like that.
Yeah.
Do they look anything like the ambrosia beetle people?
They
that we murdered.
I think thri-kreen best. I mean, the way that I imagined, I think, or could describe, bipedal praying mantis.
Yes. Yeah. So they're much, they're taller and leaner and lankier, and they've got that more sort of manted, like, triangular head-shaped thing going on, and they obviously don't have, like, giant, round elytra on the back or whatever. So yeah, they're, maybe less insecty and more people-y looking, if that makes sense. I don't know if that was a great way to explain that, but yeah, like, they're longer and leaner. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So again, they like tower over Cedric and Nautia. But
we're used to it.
Everyone towers over Cedric.
Right. Yeah.
I believe my character or Koi is 5'10". Yeah, 5'10", 135 pounds. So lean, tall.
Yeah.
Ish. compared to the other folks in the D&D world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're in between Kay and Fletcher in height, so yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've probably arrived at the fairgrounds, or the competition grounds now. Mm-hmm. So there will be a line of thri-kreen who are all holding these modified atlatls with the catch pegs or the cross pegs, and they're facing away from the crowd. And facing kind of perpendicular to this line, we're all facing the same direction, will be leader of the tournament, and they'll have another modified atlatl with this large turkey feather shuttlecock attached to it. And they launch the atlatl up in front of the competitors, and the shuttlecock detaches from the atlatl dart in the air, and the atlatl dart falls, the shuttlecock floats freely down as the throwers attempt to throw and catch the dart. And again, this is the Moche Toss. It is based off of an archaeologically accurate ritual or game that does exist in the world. So the Moche Toss. And basically you get points for snagging the target, and there's different flights, 5 people each, or 5 thri-kreen each round, basically. And there's 5 throws per round, and you collect points, and then it's like a bracket, basically. It goes towards the end until you get to the final 5, and then you throw. So I am participating in one of the last brackets of the preliminary rounds. So we have a few rounds to watch ahead of time, like 1 or 2 maybe.
And so he's describing this to you, and you do in fact see there's, it's, again, a little difficult for all of you to age the thri-kreen because this is the very first day you've ever seen people like them, but you imagine they might be older or more in charge people on the side throwing these shuttlecocks that are made out of most commonly turkey feathers, but sometimes like roadrunner feathers or, sorry, Nautia, but maybe also eagle feathers. And the dart gets thrown up into the air, and the shuttlecock sort of, like a parachute, gently floats its way down. And meanwhile, the throwers, there's just, a shower of darts flying towards the shuttlecock. And usually the shuttlecock gets snagged by someone, although not always. Not everyone is super good at it. And of course, the throws of the shuttlecocks themselves vary in their, trajectory a bit as well. So yeah, it's a highly variable game, but definitely interesting to all of you to watch. Yeah.
As we're watching, Cedric is going to lean over to Kay and say, Lucanus would have loved this.
Yeah, he would have. He probably would have been up there trying to compete. Probably would have just walked right up there.
Yeah. Every single round that had been him.
Mm-hmm. Kay is like cheering people on. She's like definitely one of those crowd people. It's like, yeah, you get them. And like gets up and like claps and like screams every time. Probably inappropriate, but she's very enthusiastic.
Okay, so maybe time for my round now of the Moche Toss.
Sure, yeah. So how this is going to work, again, the thrower, basically the thrower has to roll to make sure it goes in a trajectory that will be catchable, right? So like if they suck on their throw, then it like hits the ground or something terrible. But yeah, so the thrower has to, of the shuttlecock has to roll first, and then everyone else who's competing would be, which I will roll some competitors against you, but basically everyone will roll attacks against the shuttlecock using your Atlatl, and the person with the, well, so there's a number threshold. I think you might have heard me call it a DC earlier, so it's a difficulty class. So everybody who's trying to hit the shuttlecock at least will need to meet this base number, but then everyone who's above that base number, whoever is the highest, is the one who catches the shuttlecock. Because the way I understand this is that it's like aim, but also kind of a race, because like multiple people could aim well, but yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and there definitely is like an aspect of you can wait for it to be close to the ground where the target is closer to you and easier to hit. But if you take the risk and you throw while it's still high in the air, you won't have to compete with other darts in the mid-flight, but it's going to be harder to hit. So there's a strategy involved with like, when do you time your throw? Do you at the apex of the shuttlecock flight or towards the ground, and all of this fun stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Kay has like made a sign with his name on it, like, and is like on this stands, like holding it up and like waving it around. She like,
what did you make the sign out of?
Her journal notebook paper.
Tearing pages out of her note.
Yeah, she was like, tearing pages out, and she's like handing pages out to everyone else too, like with his name on it. So we like.
We don't even know if he can read common.
Doesn't matter.
All the thri-keen around you guys are like.
She like drew like a little sketch of him. Like,
oh my god.
So Kay is like the team mom who's like screaming for the kids and doing that like really loud, 100%. Obnoxious whistle and like doing all those horrible things.
Yes, and like every time we'll like
Fletcher's sitting like right next to her and is watching but not into sports, and it's just like and there's just that whistle and screaming next to him, and he's just like
Fletcher, it's our friend, come on.
It's like can you sit? Can you sit? Can you sit? But can you sit?
No. You can hear them in the crowd. Do you acknowledge them, or are you trying to ignore them?
Definitely trying to focus, trying to tune them out. Maybe disassociate a little bit with the very rambunctious outsiders who are making a scene at the competition grounds, but still very appreciative of their support, even if it is a little bit misplaced for the setting.
That was like the kindest thing.
I mean, he did tell you guys earlier, like, this is a super serious ceremony, and you're like, woo!
I was just gonna ask. I was like, what are the other people here doing? Is
Nautia
everyone
would
just
be
sitting
looking at that,
watching?
yeah.
I mean, it's
And
not
then
like
there's just Kay just screaming.
it's not
Like someone's
I
just
would
standing
say-
up in church and just screaming.
Definitely, it's not like the rest of the audience is just sitting silent, but nobody's screaming or necessarily cheering in that way.
This is like
maybe-
golf.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that quiet, not that
Oh,
quiet.
okay.
But like, but conversation with each other, watching. There's so many of these rounds happening throughout the day. It's not like everyone needs to stop and put 100% of their attention into every throw of every round. So it is a casual conversation. There's again different rounds throughout the whole evening, or afternoon and evening. So, but no stadium cheering in that way.
Everyone's just like, oh, this white girl.
This freaking gringo, like, get her out of here.
and you're so sparkly too, like.
Yeah, my like skin like glows. I was like, yeah.
Oh my god. All right, Koi, are you ready to throw?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make sure the thrower can actually throw. Yep, totally. So the shuttlecock starts floating down through the air, and you and your competitors all roll their attack rolls. Oh god, one of them went off the table. Oh wow, they suck at this. So let's see, what did you get on your attack?
Oh, I have to use the website, right?
Yeah, so if you go into Roll20, you should be able to roll it from there.
And it's just 1d20?
Yeah, and then you'll add whatever your attack bonus with the Atlatl is that we have on your character sheet. Oh boy.
Oh, I had a very, very bad roll.
That's okay.
Very bad first round.
Everybody else sucks too.
Okay, so my attack bonus, the one with the base attack bonus, right?
No. In the bar of your character sheet with the Atlatl stuff in it.
Plus 8.
Plus 8. Okay, so you got a 12. You beat everyone else.
Oh, okay.
So your dart goes. I got a 2, a 5, and a 7. So
It's all the dice today.
yeah. So your dart goes the closest to the shuttlecock, but you don't quite snag it on that first time.
Okay.
But you said you do this 5 times in the heat.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so make sure the thrower... Yep, okay, so the shuttlecock goes up again. Everybody releases their darts. Ah, off the table. Oh, dear.
Ooh, I had a great roll this time.
Yeah.
17 plus 8, so 25.
Yeah, you beat everybody this time. The highest competitor was a dirty 20. So that means that everybody's darts go up in the air, and yours sails out just a little higher and a little faster, snags the shuttlecock, and drives it to the ground. So you have 1 point compared to everybody else's goose egg.
Awesome.
All right. Yes, the thrower can do the thing. So we'll throw the darts again. Uh-oh.
Ooh, another 4, so another 12.
One person got an 18, so a point to one of your competitors. So now you're tied. Whoops. Throwing again. Yeah, they're doing fine. The throw is not that hard. But we'll do all the darts again. Oh.
I got a 13. Ooh, boy.
One of them was a natural 20.
Okay, so I got a 13, plus my 8 is going to be a 21.
21, yeah, but the natural 20 is an auto crit, so you lose another point to a different competitor, so now there are 3 of you with 1 point each.
Okay.
And then one last time.
Oh, my worst one yet.
Oh,
3
no.
plus the 5, so an 8. Oh, sorry, plus the 8. So an 11.
Oh, yeah. Well, the person who just got a natural 20 got a natural 18 this time. So they wind up with 2 points versus everybody else. Or, yeah, 2 of you with 1 point. So I don't know, how do the heats work in this?
How would that break down? 'Cause I guess it depends on how many...
Oh. Actually, roll that last one again.
Oh, did I do it wrong?
No, somebody redeemed a second chance for you to do it again.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Oh, a 19.
Wait, you
So that
said
definitely helps.
you said players couldn't do that.
Well, he's redeeming it for somebody else. It's fine. Yay, 19. Okay, so that means you do beat
Yeah,
that
I wouldn't do it for us in battle. But
Right,
I was
yeah.
like, well, here I was like, I'm gonna do it.
No, that's perfect. So on that second chance, it does actually fly, and you just barely edge out that other person. So you do wind up with 2 points to everybody else's 1 or 0. Yay!
Okay,
Faye's like
yay,
waving
perfect.
her sign around. She's very excited.
Cedric's like beating his hammer on the ground.
I'm pretty sure this is better than I've ever done in any actual Moche competition. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with myself. I'm good with like the target shooting, but the aerial, the flying targets,
This is why we
play.
play these fantasy games,
Mhm.
so we can,
Well, and I set the DC to hit in the first place at 15, so it's not easy to even hit in the first place. But yeah. Oh, Nikki just made another one in case you need it on the next heat. Yeah. So what happens at the end of one of these 5-person heats?
So top person from each heat will go on into the next round. We can theoretically make up a nice number for how many total people there are, so they're not an infinite number of rounds of this.
Mm-hmm.
But we can say the next one is the semifinals, I guess. So it's
Sure. Yeah.
10 people left, split into 2 heats of 10, and then I guess wait. Maybe think of a better. Or we go the other way, go really big, so that there's 5 heats of 5 people left. Top person from each of those heats will make the final 5. How about that?
Yeah, that works. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll do one more heat of 5 people. So the thrower throws. This is a really good throw. So all of you throw your darts at it. Boop, boop. Oh, wow, they suck again.
Okay, I got a 10, so 18 with my bonus.
You just edge out the next best person, so you get 1 point.
Awesome.
The thrower throws the shuttlecock goes into the ground, so they have to re-roll. That was a natural 1 from the thrower. Get your act together, man! Okay, that one's better.
very embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
But what about throw work in real life? Like,
So
does
a
that
bad
even
throw-
happen?
Oh yeah, all the time. The launching is somewhat finicky. I would say like 50% of the time. No, probably more than that. Maybe like 60% of the time we get a good launch. So 40% of the time is not that great. A bad launch is one in which the shuttlecock does not successfully disengage from the dart. So there are times where, because there's a whole like mechanism or like a wrapping mechanism, and sometimes if it slips or something, then either it releases too early at the beginning of the throw and it never gets enough height for anyone to throw at it, or it gets dragged into the ground with the dart because it never releases, or the third option is that it releases but wind blows the target shuttlecock either into like the players or into the audience, and then we obviously don't throw because we don't want to hit somebody else with.
You don't throw if it goes towards the audience? What?
Yeah. So those are the 3 ways we have a rethrow basically.
All right,
Okay,
yeah. So the
so,
thrower threw correctly this second time, so now you all will do your darts.
Okay.
Again.
I got a 12 plus 8, so I got a 20.
Okay, yeah, so you beat the next best person again. You're on a roll, feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
Those newcomers are
Feeling
obnoxious, but they're really pumping up your ego, yeah?
For sure. Okay, hopefully the law of large numbers doesn't hurt me here. Oh, it did hurt me. Okay,
Uh-oh.
I got a 2, so a
no.
10, so I'm not gonna...
Well,
I'm close.
you can use that reroll that Sarah gave you if you want.
Mm,
Or, sorry, Nikki gave you. Sorry.
yes.
You want to use it? Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll use a reroll on this one because this was so bad.
Perfect. No, Nikki, you cannot add a monster right now. Sit down.
It would be hilarious.
Okay, reroll. The magic of the reroll works again. I got an 18, so it's 26.
All right, yeah. So you beat the next best person again. You got 3 points out of 3 throws. That's amazing.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, what if I got a perfect... Oh, no, maybe not. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's see what everybody do. So I've got 2 12s, but 5 plus 8 is 13.
13.
So you are the closest, but nobody actually beats that 15
Nobody caps on
DC.
it.
So yeah, so that's 0 points for anybody, but you're still in the lead. The last throw is a good one.
Okay, an 8, so a 16 for me. If no one beats that, I've snagged it
Nope,
just barely.
you snagged it, and you
Awesome.
win with 4 points.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
Cedric's up with Kay, like jumping up and down, like he's going crazy too.
I feel like this is such a good bonding moment for Kay and Cedric. It's like, yeah, sports.
Amazing.
Maybe we can turn Fletcher around on the whole sports thing by the end of it. If it gets exciting enough.
I have to say, watching this, I do want to learn now in our next day hanging out here to see if I can use an Atlatl, because it's lightweight, even I should be able to sort of use it. It's from a distance, which is good for a wizard. It's not like I don't enjoy watching it. I am just not acting like Cedric and Kay, who are embarrassing the hell out of me.
And that's
as always.
One of the beauties of Atlatls is that they are sometimes called the egalitarian weapon because it uses, like a machine basically to launch. It negates any strength differences, really. Honestly, I call it a finesse weapon, not a strength weapon. People who try to overpower it, who assume that it's like chucking a spear really hard, actually do worse. So it's definitely everyone is able to do it, and even young children learn how to throw Atlatls from the age of 7 or 8 years old, and both men and women can throw and have pretty good accuracy and power with it. So definitely excited to teach you the next day that you are here in the festival how to throw these things. But time for the final round, I think.
Okay, last one. All right, throw the thing.
Oh,
okay.
Natural 20 for me, so 28 after my bonus.
Wow. Yeah, no, that definitely, 2, 3, and 10. Yeah, no, you beat them handily. Okay, so the next shuttlecock goes up.
They have to replace that shuttlecock. It explodes.
Another natural 20.
Whoa!
Yeah!
I'm just beginner luck with the rolls, I
On
guess.
such a 2 20s in a row. Woo! All right, yeah, so you've got 2 points. There goes another shuttlecock up in the air. So you can roll your third one.
And yep.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. My luck ran out. A 2. That's okay, though. I think I have a pretty sizable lead at this point.
Yeah, okay, so you just want to leave it? Okay, so one of your competitors gets 1 point. The next shuttlecock goes up in the air.
Okay, 14 plus 8, so 22.
Somebody got a natural 20. It's not just you.
Oh, boy.
But that's a different person.
Oh, boy.
So there are 2 of your competitors with 1 point each, and you have 2 points. And this is the last throw.
Okay.
And it goes up in the air just fine.
There is another reroll still from Nikki.
Okay. Probably going to use it on this one because I got a 1.
I would, yeah.
Yes, use it.
Yes.
Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki. That was very generous. And an 18. So all of my rerolls have been 18. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
After.
And that beats the next highest person. Just edges them out. So yeah, you win with 3 points in the final round. You were the favorite, apparently. Woohoo!
I will.
Like
That's
Kay hugs Cedric, and we're just jumping. And he's
Hopping
At some point, I position myself between this and Fletcher just because I can feel the discomfort.
With your wings out as a barrier.
Not even that, just very low key, just kind of.
Oh, don't worry. I've scooted far enough away on the bench to kind of seem like I'm not with
them.
Group watching.
I'm not with the other pink fleshy people.
I'm not with those endoskeletons.
Oh, okay.
I'm a different endoskeleton compared to.
Oh man, yeah. So you win. Woohoo!
awesome.
Woo.
Okay, so here's an idea. How about I win? My prize for winning is the new Makwa Weasel and the new Atlatl set, and I can gift my old sets to the rest of the team.
Aw, that's so sweet. I love that idea. Yeah, so you get a very, like, really high quality, very nicely built by one of the craftsmen. Like, yeah, you've made your own before, but this one is very expertly built, a set of these weapons. So yeah, you have these really nice new ones, and you are free to do with your old ones as you will. Yeah.
Was it Cedric or Fletcher who wanted the Moche Toss? Okay, so Cedric, right? Okay,
I could use that.
I want to
I was
use
gonna say,
it.
I thought Fletcher was yeah. So since wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was okay. So then, yeah, I can give my Moche Toss to Cedric and my old Atlatl to at least to have you guys try it tomorrow morning. But potentially Fletcher will get to keep that if he's able to use it.
Cool. Yeah, totally. Are there any other games or activities you all would like to do right now during the festival, or would you like to go to bed after a very long and eventful day?
I think
we need to do at least some like of these carny games that are out here.
I'm way too pumped up now from the victory to go to bed. You know,
like if we can I'm assuming Koi, will you join us? Like walk around with us, and I'm assuming so it can just be a night of walking around,
I'm definitely
eating, playing games.
So
awesome.
Are you wearing like a big like
sash
or something like that? Like
maybe some sort of like wreath or something. Like go ancient Greek with it with the Olympics. So something like that, deserty something.
Yeah.
A Choya wreath.
Yeah.
Kay is like totally fangirling, by the way. She's like, oh my god, when you did the thing and it was like right before like those other people and you like snagged it. Oh my god, it was so amazing.
Adorable. Yeah, I guess the two of you are like almost the same age. So he's maybe a little, you said you're like in your early 20s. So yeah, he's a little older than you, but yeah. What was that, Fletcher?
What I was just going to say, I was like, just continuing to try to picture the little like wreath that he might be wearing. I was like, it's probably like, maybe like cactus flowers and like, there's like, if it's like twined with any like fabric, maybe dyed with some cochineal insects from the Opuntia cacti, like very like a lot of work goes into it. So it's like,
yes. Sarah suggests maybe sagebrush in the crown as well.
I was just about to say somebody
which
in
would
chat
smell really good.
Perfect.
Oh,
so maybe some juniper berries throughout because juniper is super common in the desert.
Yeah,
that'd be
definitely.
nice.
Pop of blue color.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, so you guys have already seen all of the food offerings, but there are also, Angelo, did I send you the list of the other games I made stats for? I don't remember.
You did not.
Okay, so your other choices are Chaza, which is a team racket / paddle sport, was the best way I could explain it. These are all real games from South America, by the way.
You did send this to me, actually, after all. I just can't find it right now.
That's okay.
I remember reading that somewhere.
Okay, so you have, Cindy has a question.
Oh, no, just, I think I recognized what I was listening to you do the things, and I was like, I think I recognize that one.
Okay. So you're
Chaza, Trompo, Sapo, and those are the three, right?
Yep. Yeah. Chaza, Trompo, and Sapo. One is a team sport, one uses tops, and one is that ping pong ball into goldfish bowls game. Only there are no goldfish and no ping pong balls.
I want to play that one.
Okay. So what you see at the Sapo area board, I guess. So there is a big board or tablet with a bunch of holes in it, and the holes are different distances from where the player stands, and they are different diameters, and they're painted, decorated to sort of indicate the differences. And then in a prominent place on the board there is a sculpture of a lizard with its mouth open, and that Koi tells you is the winning spot. If you're able to toss one of the little tokens into the lizard's mouth, you get the most points. But basically you get a different number of points depending on which hole you are able to get your token into.
It's like skee ball.
Kind of, yeah. Except
but
they're
you're
not
throwing,
all in a
not
line.
rolling.
Yeah.
Wait, so they're in a a line.
No.
They're
just all over the board.
A field. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so there are multiple 1-point holes and multiple 2-point holes and whatever. The lizard is the only 10-point hole.
Okay.
In the real version of this game, it's a frog, but I thought a lizard would be more realistic for the desert, so little flavor change there.
Nancy, you're muted, but while you're looking at the board, Cedric is gonna like nudge you and be like, okay, so just picture the lizard's mouth is the back of my head. All right,
Yes.
and just aim for that.
Okay. Yeah. Sheryl, when you were saying that, you were like sapo. Sapo's a toad in Spanish.
Yeah.
I was like, why is there a lizard?
Yeah. So the game has a frog in the middle of the board in the real version, but there aren't there aren't visible frogs in the desert most of the time. So I was like, lizard. That works, I guess. It's a little flavor. Artistic.
What's lizard in Spanish?
La jetilla.
Yeah, that's harder to say.
Yeah. It's actually one of the words I really struggle with because there's like that weird G in the middle of it, and I always like.
Yeah, that's like a interesting tongue shape.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I get made fun of all the time for how badly I pronounce that word, so we're just gonna. They're like, "Oh, the Gringa accent is real strong with this word." Yes, it is.
Okay, so basically, mechanically D&D wise, how you play this game is you roll an attack, so a DC or a D20 plus your base attack bonus plus your dexterity modifier, and depending on what that math is, will tell you which hole you get it into. So like the 1-point holes are a DC of 10, and then they sort of go up from there, with the lizard being a DC 25.
Oh boy. Okay. Base attack plus dexterity.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the side. Okay. Cool. All right.
And you get
well,
5.
I got a 1.
You get 5 tokens. Okay, so that
what?
That one like bounces off the edge of the board and just goes off into the sand.
It actually hit Cedric.
Yeah. No, the lizard. The lizard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's the arrow all over again, Kay.
I know. Oh, quick, Nadia, heal me.
Oh no.
All right, I'll try again. Oh, that one was a 2.
That one like falls onto the board and just like slaps flat on top of the board.
I'm gonna use a different D20.
Okay.
Oh, that one's a 3.
You're improving.
Oh, how is this even possible?
Go.
Every roll
Like,
is better
Throw
than the
away
last
all
one.
of your dice. Throw away
Counting
all
with
of
a
your dice.
Or at least, like,
D20.
smudge
I'm telling
them or
you.
something.
It's all the dice today.
Hold on. All right, I'll try again. Maybe on the last one I'll get.
This
No,
is
so
your
I'm
4th
gonna give-
coin of
I'll do
5.
my 4th coin. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Come on. Hey, that one's 17 plus 2, 18, 19 plus 3, 21-ish. 21.
Wait, was 19 plus 3 is 22.
No, it's 17 plus 2, which is the base attack, plus 3, which is dexterity.
Yeah, so that's 19 plus 3 is 22. Yeah. Okay, so for the 22, you managed to get it in one of the really small holes. Like, oh, the first 3 were really frustrating, and all of a sudden you dialed it in. So you have 6 points, and you have 1 more token left.
All right, let's do this. Oh, I got a 2.
Anybody want to try to beat Kay and win the giant stuffed animal that totally is not at this stall?
I was gonna say, what are we even playing for?
Yeah.
They're like small prizes.
We're playing for keeps.
But-
for credit or for
Pride.
street
We're
cred.
playing for pride.
It's a new water skin.
Ooh.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll throw.
Oh.
Okay, so yeah, a d20 plus your base attack bonus plus your dexterity, and you have 5 tokens.
Okay. That one's a 22.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
Fletcher.
6 points.
7.
Total?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's 0 points. You have 6 points, and that was 2
My
tokens.
base attack bonus is only +1.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
like, I only get to add 3 to my rolls. 14.
A 14 will get you 2 points, so now you have 8 points.
You beat me.
12.
A 12 will get you another 2 points. So now you have 10 points.
One roll left?
And you have 1 roll left. Yeah.
Okay. 18.
An 18 will get you 4 points. So you got 14 points total. Woo!
Are there tickets? Can they combine their tickets together to get a better prize?
Yes!
So we can get one of those sticky hands, and then it immediately like hits the sand and it's just useless.
Garbage.
Hair. And we're like,
Why?
Why?
Well, you see that other people who are playing this game might sort of make a wager against one another before they start throwing, so...
We'll get a sticky hand and like one Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, anybody else want to play this game? You want to try something else?
I want to play the team sport with Nautia.
Okay, so the team sport...
But does Nautia want to play the team sport with you?
The team sport
Nautia.
is very elaborate.
Give it.
What?
I'm also just like, given my dice luck lately, I'm dying to see how this turns out.
Yeah, I mean, what? Like, just don't stab me with the racket, okay? Like,
Yeah,
Well,
right.
if you want to wander over to the area where Kazo is being played, I will describe what you see. Because
Yeah, how
you
does that
might
even work?
rethink whether or not you want to play it.
oh no.
Okay.
This would probably be better to play like with Koi, who's probably played it before.
Say I could be on a team with Kay, maybe, and then we have a 2-1.
Yes!
So
Yeah, let's do it.
So normally
Assuming
this
that's
is
how this
Two-person
works.
teams?
normally
Yeah, how does
this
this
is
work?
played with 3 to 5 person teams.
Mm-hmm.
But you could, play smaller teams if you wanted. This game, when I read the description, amazed me. I think it is so badass. Okay, so
Is this the one where you, like, knock the ball through the hoop with your hips?
No.
Oh.
So this one is kind of like tennis and kind of like volleyball. The court from end to end is 300 feet. So that's 100 yards, which is very big. And there is a line, bisecting it. So like a tennis court or like a volleyball court. Each player has a paddle or a racket that in real life is called a bumbo. And it is like 15 pounds. They're very big and very heavy.
Wow.
And then the game is played using the same basic rules as tennis. Teams take turns serving the ball, and points are scored if the ball is not returned or if it bounces more than once on a side. So you've got this incredibly heavy paddle racket thing, and you're trying to hit this ball, but like the court is so long that like
The court is the size of a football field, right?
no,
Like,
it's
Or-
oh wait, yes. 100
Yeah,
yards?
100
Okay,
yards.
Yeah. So the
100
court is the
yards,
size
yeah.
of a football field.
And there are 3 players on each team?
3 to 5.
2 to 5.
And with this giant paddle, you can probably make the ball, if you're able to swing this thing with any sort of power, the ball could go
Wow.
crazy distance. Yeah, so it is an impressive game as far as I can
So
tell.
And
We're talking
Central and South
in
American
soccer
groups
spread
had,
as far as-
I'm guessing the ball's rubber, right?
I would
The
assume
Central
so,
and South
yeah.
American groups had rubber, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the game with the hips and the hoops, the ball with the hips and the hoops that was mentioned, that's Ulama Litzli, which is, Aztec game. But probably they had similar materials, similar type of balls. So
Yeah.
maybe we play as a team of 5 against a team of 5 thri-kreen.
Against
Let's
someone
do it.
else who wipe the walls
Let's do
with
that.
us.
Yeah.
I don't think Fletcher is going to be of any use in any kind of team
My
sport,
strength
similar
is
to
minus
myself.
1.
Is magic allowed? Because Fletcher will
Fire
grease the
roll.
fuck out of the ball.
Strength 1 with a 15-pound racket does not sound like it matches.
No.
Fletcher
No.
just greases the ball so the other team can't hit it.
I mean, if you feel like using magic, maybe you won't be allowed to sleep in a tent inside this festival tonight. It's up to you to find
Yeah.
out.
So-
Okay, so
Wait, I want to ask real quick. So when you say a rubber ball, though, you're talking like a solid rubber ball, right? Like
I
it's
would
not
assume
like
so.
it's not like a racket ball where the outside is rubber and the inside is air. It's like it is a wad of rubber, right? It's just like a medicine ball.
Probably.
Like it weighs.
No, I would guess not a medicine. I would guess like a tennis, or like a racquetball size, but solid
Oh.
rubber, like a bounce, right? Because there's no way you could. I mean, a ball of rubber this big. Like, so this is how big the balls for Ulam and Litzli were, the hip and hoop game from the Aztec Empire.
For
and
our
they
audio
weighed,
listeners, like you're talking like larger than a softball, right? Like.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Volleyball sized, solid rubber, weighs like 15 pounds or something.
Yeah.
And they were hitting that with their hips.
Hips, yeah.
Now, I mean, it's heavy enough to like, if it comes at you with speed, to like break bones. So, and hard enough. So I doubt that they were hitting a ball that size with 15-pound rackets. I imagine it's big rackets, little ball. Especially because you need to get a ball to go 100 yards. Yeah. I'm not an expert in this, though. This is something that Cheryl researched.
I just found this. I found it on the internet.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, the closest I can guess.
I'm picturing, because like those little, like those little bouncy balls can, like I've seen them that come closer to tennis ball size, and like they won't. I mean, like at top speed, they'll hurt, but they won't. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are definitely small enough and bouncy enough. Like if you hit a tennis ball with like a paddle, it'll go 100 yards.
Yeah.
Like that's just my frame of reference, my guess.
My best estimate from the photo is that it's at least softball sized, maybe a little larger, so almost like somewhere between like a softball and a grapefruit. But yeah, it's not like a medicine ball, or a kickball.
That's still really big, and that's hard to hit.
Yeah. Like I was so impressed when I found this game. I was like, "Oh, I'm putting this in," because it just sounds awesome.
That explains why the rackets are 15 pounds.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to make a strength check of at least 10 in order to lift and wield the paddle in the first place.
Oh God! Come on, Fletcher, we got this.
We're all doing that.
I am.
Oh my God!
Oh, this is such a bad idea.
Oh man, I'm gonna take my armor off before I do this game.
Yeah.
Just like I don't think I can run around a 100-yard field with my armor, my scale mail on.
And you see like Nautia trying to fly, like dragging.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you have to. Huh?
Nautia is strong, so like
that's true.
Yeah.
The strongest of all of us.
Indeed.
So the way that I decided to write the mechanics of this game out for D&D simplifies it a little, because obviously like in a tennis or a volleyball scenario, like anybody could run for and get the ball, right? In this scenario, we'll have everybody take turns per side so that, we don't have all kinds of craziness going on. So basically, we'll run it kind of like a skills challenge. So you'll all roll initiative, not because it's combat, but just so we can tell what order you'll go in. And then, like, one of you will hit it from your side and then a player from the other side, and we'll go back and forth until everybody on your side has hit it once, and then we'll start over again. And that happens until the ball fails on a side, if that makes sense.
Okay, and how many points need to be like how many to win?
We will say 7 win by 2.
Okay. And do you have to be serving to win, like in...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
to get a point, rather.
Yeah. So again, you have to do a strength check of 10 in order to lift and wield the paddle.
Wait. Sorry. Serving to win a point or serving to win?
Serving to win a point.
Okay.
So like in what?
Like
in volleyball,
tennis.
you
like
can't.
in volleyball.
Yeah.
In volleyball. So that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like how tennis is, because in tennis you can win a point
Right.
without like receiving a serve.
Right.
Okay.
It's like volleyball serve. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to do the strength check in order to lift and wield the paddle in the first place. When the ball is coming to you, you have to do a reflex save of 12 to get to it, and then a strength-based attack of 15. In order to hit it back across. You're only allowed to add your base attack to that strength-based attack if you are proficient in this game, which at least none of the 4 of you are, but Koi can be. Yeah.
Locals advantage.
Yeah. How good does the other team look?
I mean, they're all thri-kreen, so.
Are they jacked, though? Are they big?
Tell me what a jacked praying mantis looks like, and I'll get back to you.
Sure. Yeah.
Big and like, I don't know, spits on the ground.
They became an adult, but still somehow molted their exoskeleton again and got even bigger.
Like crayfish do. Like they're just like, oh yeah, I'm an adult, but I'm gonna keep going.
Sometimes there's some that have indeterminate, and they just keep molting and getting huge.
Okay,
like
sorry.
They don't have to be. Well, insects don't have to be jacked to be strong.
That's
they have
true.
high strength to weight ratios because of the leverage of their limbs, especially praying mantis, which has long limbs. And like, I rock climb IRL, and so does Koi. So that's also like a strength to weight ratio type of thing. So yeah, I think you don't have to be jacked, but just being lanky is enough with an insectoid body.
I'm so proud of you for coming in here and saying that to the entomologist. Great job.
Yes, yes. Love it.
Okay.
We were like invested in the world. Okay.
That was so good. Yeah. Okay, so yes, I know verisimilitude is like of the utmost importance in this D&D game. So if in a single in a single volley, so the ball hasn't failed yet, we make it through every person on your team, you all have to make a constitution or a fortitude save, in order to like not get exhausted. And the DC for that fortitude save increases every round that the volley continues where everybody has gone, and then you still have to keep going, right?
Rest assured that will not become a thing that we all... No.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you all want to roll initiative, you can decide, we'll decide who goes first.
I got a 17.
Wow.
Now I roll well. 14.
10.
6.
You're muted, Angelo.
Sorry, I rolled a 5, but do I add anything to that?
Yeah, there's a space towards the top of your character sheet that it's a box that should say initiative next to it.
It's probably like a +1 or something like that.
+2.
+2. Okay, so you have a 7. Okay, so it was Kay with a 17, Nautia with a 14, Cedric with a 10.
Cedric with a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Koi
Koi
with a 7.
and then Fletcher. Right. Perfect.
Thank God I'm at the bottom. That's all I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I have no strength. All right, let's do this.
Just like myself in real life, standing, trying not to pay attention to the ball in the outfield, looking at flowers and like grasshoppers, so I wouldn't have to try to catch the ball. Fletcher is like, kind of looking around, like,
dude. Like, literally, me catching a football was like a pre-meme in high school. So, like, it's like, how does Peter catch a football? I feel you.
Oh, no. All right, so to decide who will serve first, Angelo, say hi or low.
Hi.
Okay. So the other team is serving first because it was a 7. All right, so so they will serve. So now I have to go back and read my own freaking rules. Okay. All right. Wow. So they didn't get it over the net the first time. That was awful. So now you guys get to serve. So Kay, since you're going first, you can serve if you want.
I guess I'll try.
Okay. So you're gonna do a d20 and add your strength, or subtract your strength.
Ouch. Come on. I got a 16.
Okay, so it does in fact go over the net.
Yes!
All right, so they make their reflex save to get to it, and they hit it back across, so that means it's Nadia's turn. You need to make a reflex save.
Boy, oh boy. Just reflex, right?
Yep.
19, so 22.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you make it to the ball. Now roll a d20 plus your strength to see if you can hit it back.
11.
So you get to it and you hit it.
Where's
and it
our
goes like,
wait? Where's our second chance?
oh wait,
We have one, right?
I don't know.
This
We
is
still
where
have one.
Cindy is bleeding through.
Nope, there are no more.
Can I give us
We
one?
have one.
No, we used all of them.
No.
I appreciate the fact that this game is taking place during the big football game. That like it's like
Oh my god, I just
you're-
totally forgot that was today.
right, you're avoiding the big football game with Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing team sports.
But this one is culturally educational. Okay, so nobody has scored a point so far because that was your serve. Okay, so they will serve again. And they managed to hit it over the net. So we'll say it's Cedric's turn now. So reflex save for me.
Oh, that's an 8.
Okay, that misses. You do not make it to the ball in time. So the other team scores
I've got
1
really
point.
short legs. So.
That is true. That is true. So they will serve again. They do not make it over the net this time. So now it's Koi's turn. So you can serve. So you can do D20 plus your base attack bonus plus your strength modifier.
Okay, so... Oh, I rolled a natural 20.
Oh!
So that's going to be, wait, you said plus base attack?
Yeah, you don't even have to though. But that nat
Yeah.
that is your third nat 20 of your very first session of D&D.
I'm feeling very...
So good.
Okay, maybe it's because I'm from Las Vegas, so I'm just getting really
That's actually going to make it harder for them to get to the ball because you hit it so well. And wow, and they got a natural 2 anyway, so they suck. So you earn a point for your team.
Yeah! Kay's like, yay!
Do you want to serve again?
Sure.
Okay, so do the same thing.
Okay.
A D20 plus your base attack bonus plus your strength.
Okay, so 11 was my roll, plus base attack bonus 5, so 16, plus my strength. My strength says 11, like ability score, right?
The plus something that's next to it, the modifier.
Okay, so I don't have an ability modifier
Right.
for strength. Okay, so it's
That
just
is a 16.
16.
That
Yep.
makes it over. Okay. They get to the ball. They hit the ball back. Fletcher, it's your turn.
Fletcher!
Oh, that's
I
not
got
good.
this.
Reflex save.
It's not good.
No.
Nope, only a 6 on the reflex.
Oops. Okay. So you guys lose the ball. So they will serve again. We're at 1 point and 1 point. All right. So they hit it across. We're back up to K. Reflex save to get to the ball.
I got a 1.
Oh, God.
I trip.
The worst rogue on the planet.
Oh, and this is the moment where you all have to make a fortitude save, because you've all gone one round. So, oh no, sorry, that was
Oh.
only when a volley continues. Never mind.
Oh.
Yeah.
Scratch
I
that.
trip. I faceplant.
Sorry, that 42 thing only comes into play if the volley goes through all of you and comes back around, because that means you haven't gotten a break. But like obviously there's a break between serves, so that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay, so they got another point, so now they're gonna serve again. They failed. So Nautia, it's your serve.
All right. Man, my dice jail is full tonight. Okay, that one is
D20 plus
sorry,
your
base
strength.
attack plus strength.
Not base attack, just D20 plus strength, because you are not proficient in this game.
Oh, just strength. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Didn't take this one in gym class.
15?
15 makes it over the net. Yeah. So they have to get to the ball. They get to the ball. They do not hit it back over though, so you guys get a point.
Yeah.
Nautia, would you like to serve again, or do you want to pass it off to somebody?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, 9.
Nope. Okay, so you lose the serve. It's 2 and 2. This is a really well-matched game. Way to go, guys. All right, so they hit it over the net. Now it's Cedric's turn. Cedric, go for it. Run.
This is the reflex save?
Yep.
17.
Okay, you get to the ball. D20 plus your strength to hit it back.
8.
Nope.
Oh.
Aww.
Okay. So that was their serve. So they will serve again. Oh god. So it makes it over the net. Koi, reflex save to get to the ball.
That's a normal 1d20, right?
Yeah, and then add whatever your reflex thing is.
Okay, I rolled a natural 20, so it shouldn't matter.
Fourth natural 20!
Fourth natural
Woo!
20!
I don't know.
Oh! Oh my goodness.
On roll 20 too.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm not using I'm using an actual randomizer.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
He's
amazing.
not just rolling dice on the table and then lying about it like me and Nancy.
Oh my god, I'm not even gonna make you do the strength check to hit it back. Like, you get to it and just nail it back across. So
Awesome.
they get to it, And they do not hit it back, so they lose the serve.
Perfect.
Nice.
You're MVP.
Fletcher, do you want to serve? It's your turn.
Oh God.
You got this, Fletch.
Yeah, Fletcher.
Fletch.
Wait, can I pass it on to somebody else?
Sure. But you'll have to be the first one to hit it when it comes back across the net.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Come on, you got this.
You
Better
should
your strength or
serve.
your reflex.
Because if you have to get to it, then you have the reflex save and you have the strength check. But
Yeah.
only if you serve, you just have the strength check.
This one is just a strength check, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's literally just a roll for me because it doesn't.
Yeah.
5.
Okay.
For making Ryan relive so much trauma.
I'm so sorry. You guys chose to play this game.
So much high school gym straight hetero bro trauma.
Poor Ryan, I'm sorry. Hugs.
Thank you for the cheer, Teal. Okay, so the other team is gonna serve. They do not make it over the net either with a 4. So Kay, it's your turn to serve.
Okay. Strength. I got a 1 again.
Everybody's
Got
tired
on
now.
the 20s.
Nancy, we're gonna burn your dice, okay?
All right, so the other team hits it across the net. Nautia, you want to try to get it? Uh-oh, did we lose Nautia? Oh, there she is. Okay.
My internet farted for a second.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's reflex for me, right?
Yep.
Does someone want to mail me new dice?
Yes.
19.
19. All right, now do the strength check.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, 21.
All right, yes, so you hit it back across. I love the image of 3-foot-tall Nautia just like running against the coast.
With a racket that is literally half as heavy as she is.
Yes.
That's great.
Oh, and they got a natural 1, so your return was so good that, and that was Kay's serve. So Kay, if you want to serve again, you can, or you can pass it off to someone else.
I'll try and serve again, I guess.
Awesome.
Wait, was it my serve? Wasn't it Nadia's serve? Oh, no. Okay, I understand.
No,
I
was
understand.
the return.
Sports are hard, okay?
Sports are hard.
Rule.
I got a 10.
Nope. Okay, so you don't make it over the net. So it's
At least hit it this time, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so theirs makes it over the net. Cedric, go for it. Get it. Fetch.
Ooh, 19.
19.
Yes!
All right, so what's your strength check then?
Oh, fuck me. That's a nat 1.
Oh God.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah.
We're so bad.
Whiff.
Absolutely the thing that I do in real life, anything that involves a racket or bat, is like, I will swing at it, I will contact, and then I am absolute shit at the whole angle to make it go where you want thing. Actually, to be fair, playing soccer, I also did the same thing, which was, the ball went far away, just, who knows where?
The ditch on the side of the field.
That's why racquetball is my favorite game, because you can't hit it out of bounds because you're in a box.
Yeah, you don't have to run after
you
it
have
at
not
least.
seen
Yeah.
me on a racquetball court.
I
It is
literally
so
just
bad.
hit it as hard as I can, and it usually goes somewhere good.
I swing the racket like it's a long sword. I'm like.
Angelo's just like judging all of us. He's like, I can actually do a thing with my body decently. What is wrong with all of these people?
No judgment, I promise. I promise.
Yeah.
All right, get us another nat 20. Come on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yep, so they're
You're our ringer.
Okay.
so they hit it across
Let's
the
see
net.
here.
Koi.
Okay. Wait. I think I did this wrong. Okay, got it. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Sorry, my computer's been. There we go. Okay.
Oh,
no. My luck
no.
ran out.
And the universe maintains some sense of balance. That was a nat 1. All right, so the other team has 5 points. You folks have 3. They're going to serve again, and it'll be Fletcher's turn to return.
Fletcher.
Oh no.
Fletch.
But they did not make it across the net. So Fletcher, do you want to serve, or do you want to pass the serve off to somebody else?
You got
My
this.
I'll try
strength
to
is
serve.
-1. Okay, so if you pass it off, it goes to me.
No, I'll try to serve because, like I said, otherwise I have to try to do a reflex and then a save. Although my reflex bonus is pretty good, but still. 2.
Alright, you pass it back to the other team to serve.
We should not be adventurers.
And they rolled a natural 3, so now it's Kate's
I
turn
can't
to
roll
serve.
like over a 10.
Alright, I'm gonna try and serve.
Angelo's the only one who's rolled well tonight.
I got a 15.
Alright, that makes it over the net.
Yes!
So now they have to return it. They get to it. They do not return it. Okay.
Yes!
I think Kay has been the best server so far.
Yeah.
All right, Kay. Do you wanna serve again?
I will try with my -1 strength check.
You got this, Kay.
Got this, Kay.
Kay,
no,
Kay, she's
I got a
okay.
9.
You got a 9. No? Okay.
I'm tired after the first one, okay? Like, I used all my energy to, like, swing the heavy thing.
Mhm.
Also, you
True.
almost died today.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Exactly.
I almost died today.
Nautia, you can return it.
All right. Reflex.
Uh-huh.
At 18.
That makes it to the ball and a strength
All
check.
right. It like side of the dice tray and then landed on a 1.
Okay.
that's it did it with flair.
It did it with flair. Okay. So they're gonna serve again. It's 6-4 right now, so if they get this point, then they win. And they make it across the net, so it is Cedric's turn to return the ball.
Oh, you
Is
guys.
this going to be your first successful return?
Ooh, salty.
Oh, that's 13 on my reflex save.
That makes it. Yeah, the DC is 12 on the reflex. So do a What are you looking at me like that for?
Oh, it rolled under something. It was strength 12.
Nope. Okay. So they get the last point. But you guys
Well-
had fun and got really sweaty playing Kaza.
We tried.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we failed you, our champion.
You were teaching a bunch of new friends how to play. That's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, that is a great place for us to call it tonight, because I imagine the team might be going to sleep after this. So y'all can sleep wherever you so choose. But thank you ever so much to Angelo for coming to hang out with us and play D&D for the first time. You did wonderfully. So he will be back with us, not next week because that's, a day, but 2 Sundays from now on the 21st, we'll be back with Angelo to play some more South American games or talk more about ancient weapons and things, however we feel. So in the meantime, there might be some video game streams doing stuff. I'm working on some other projects for this channel, so stay tuned in the near future. Thank you so much to everybody who's been hanging out in the chat with us. We hope you enjoyed what you were watching this evening and that it was better than Hand Egg. I'm really sorry that Nightbot is being so aggressive. I don't know why Nightbot was being so aggressive. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna figure out how to, put our digital overlords back in their place, so that you all can participate in the chat. Oh, Biker Dave says, wait, I have a question for Angelo. What is your question, Biker Dave?
We could do it in the Discord.
Oh yeah, we can also do questions in the
Is
Discord.
Angelo? Has Angelo joined the Discord yet?
He can.
I'm not in the
Shame.
Discord.
Shame.
Guys.
Shame, he just hasn't joined yet.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, how do we...
How do we aim? So he said it's basically practice to aim.
Yeah,
That's the short
basically
answer.
practice.
Yeah.
Yep. There's also I did a almost 2-hour interview with Allie Ward of the Podcastologies where we talked like Atlatl for like 2 hours. So any question you probably have is probably answered in that long rambling just few of my words. So check out that podcast to find out more about me and specifically Atlatls. We go way more in depth into like the history and the etymology of the word and some of the other like historical stories around it, and damage potential, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check that out if you want to learn more about the Atlatl.
We can link it in the Discord now.
Yep, I was absolutely planning on it. Yeah. That episode was amazing. Like, a lot of the things that get talked about on ologies are things I kind of already know about because I'm a biologist and, you know, Allie interviews a lot of people that do things that I know something about, but Angelo's, I was just like, you know, riveted the whole time. I was doing field work, but very much paying attention to the podcast, and I was like, this is so cool! And then they got to the part talking about D&D, and I was like, well, now I have to invite him on the show, so here we are.
Yeah, so many listeners submitted D&D questions, like, oh, have you played D&D? If so, what are the stats? What do you think? I'm like, I have no clue, but it was a very popular question, so I'm glad I was finally able to play D&D, and I can answer that question a little more accurately now.
Woo!
So.
Yeah!
Yeah!
And we're so glad to be your first game of D&D. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's been hanging out with us. Don't forget, you can jump into the Discord where we post links to things that our guests do, and you can talk to the cast and whoever else shows up, and we talk about recipes because this game is always about, they even talked about food today. We just can't not talk about food on this show. And also sometimes there are memes and fun facts and things like that. So, you know, come hang out with us in the Discord, or, you know, you can catch us on social media. I am on the Twitter every day, so you can tag us in things on there. Other than that,
I'll put Atlatl videos and pictures and stuff in the Discord once I'm adding it.
Yes!
So, and there's videos of like people playing the Moche Toss, like the real thing, and videos of me playing Moche Toss, so that's cool as well. So I'll post all that kind of stuff in the Discord as well once I'm in there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So come hang out with us there. It's a cool clubhouse where you can get all of those neat links and things. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone for hanging out with us. We'll be back on the 21st, same time, same place, same guest. Until then, have a great 2 weeks, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.